Justin Bryant's head slams against the metal locker, the impact echoing through the empty changing room. The 12-year-old human, the only one of his kind at Galactic Preparatory Academy, stumbles and falls to the ground. Towering over him, a group of Chalnis students sneer, their scaled skin glistening under the harsh fluorescent lights. "Look at the weakling, boys," Krosthor, the leader, growls. "This is why humans will never amount to anything in the galaxy." Justin pushes himself up, his small frame dwarfed by the alien bullies. He clenches his fists, determination etched on his face. "You're wrong," he says, voice barely above a whisper. Krosthor laughs, a guttural sound that sends shivers down Justin's spine. "What was that, little human? I couldn't hear you over the sound of your species' insignificance." The Chalnis circle closer, their clawed feet scraping against the floor. Justin backs away, his heart pounding. He knows he's outmatched, but he refuses to show fear. "I said you're wrong," he repeats, louder this time. Krosthor's eyes narrow. With lightning speed, he grabs Justin by the collar of his uniform and lifts him off the ground. "Wrong? Look around you, human. Your kind is barely a blip in the galactic community. You're nothing but primitive apes playing at civilization." Justin struggles against Krosthor's grip, his feet dangling in the air. He opens his mouth to retort, but the words catch in his throat as Krosthor slams him against the lockers again. The metallic clang reverberates through the room, drowning out Justin's pained gasp. Suddenly, the door bursts open. Arya, a Chalna teacher, rushes in, her eyes wide with alarm. "What's going on here?" she demands, taking in the scene before her. Krosthor drops Justin, who crumples to the floor. "Nothing, Professor," he says, his tone suddenly respectful. "We were just having a chat with our human classmate." Arya's gaze shifts between the group of Chalna students and Justin's huddled form. "All of you out," she orders. "Except you, Justin. Let's get you to the medical bay." As the bullies file out, Arya helps Justin to his feet. She notices him clutching his backpack protectively. "Are you all right?" she asks, concern evident in her voice. Justin nods, wincing. "I'm fine," he mumbles, but Arya can see the pain in his eyes. In the medical bay, as Arya tends to Justin's bruises, she catches a glimpse of something unusual in his open backpack. A sleek, unfamiliar device with pulsing lights. Curiosity overcoming her, she reaches for it. "No, don't." Justin starts, but it's too late. The moment Arya's fingers touch the device, it emits a high-pitched beep. The space station shudders and alarms blare throughout the complex. Through the medbay's viewport, a massive warship materializes in orbit around Nexus Prime, its design unlike anything Arya has ever seen. Before anyone can react, the Academy's doors burst open. Human soldiers and advanced armor storm in, led by a man whose very presence commands attention. "I am Admiral Thorne," he announces, his voice carrying through the stunned silence. This academy is now under the protection of the human galactic empire. Arya turns to Justin, shock written across her face. The boy stands tall now, despite his injuries, a mix of relief and apprehension in his eyes. Admiral Thorne approaches, kneeling before Justin. "Your Highness," he says, "your mother, Empress Lydia Bryant, sends her regards. It's time to come home." As the news spreads, the entire station erupts into chaos. The human child they had all dismissed and bullied is revealed to be the heir to an empire no one knew existed. Justin Bryant, the quiet boy from Earth, now stands at the center of a galactic revelation that will reshape the very foundations of interstellar society. As Admiral Thorne's words hung in the air, the medbay erupted into chaos. Alarms blared throughout the station, their shrill wails punctuated by the sound of running feet and panicked shouts. Justin stood frozen, his eyes wide as he looked from Aria's shocked face to the imposing figure of Admiral Thorne. I don't understand, Justin stammered, his voice barely audible above the din. Admiral Thorne placed a reassuring hand on Justin's shoulder. There's much to explain, Your Highness, but we must secure your safety first. Before Justin could respond, the medbay doors burst open again. A squad of human soldiers in sleek, dark armor filed in, their weapons at the ready. Admiral, the lead soldier reported, we've secured the immediate area, but the station security forces are mobilizing. Thorne nodded briskly. Implement Protocol Omega. Full lockdown of Nexus Prime, effective immediately. As the soldiers rushed to carry out their orders, Justin felt a gentle tug on his arm. He turned to see Arya, her scaled face a mix of confusion and concern. Justin, she said softly, what's happening? Before he could answer, Admiral Thorne stepped between them. I'm afraid there's no time for explanations, Professor. Justin must be moved to a secure location immediately. With that, Justin found himself whisked away from the medbay, surrounded by a protective circle of human soldiers. As they moved through the corridors of Nexus Prime, he caught glimpses of the chaos unfolding around them. Alien students and faculty pressed against the windows of locked classrooms, their faces a kaleidoscope of fear, anger, and bewilderment. The journey to the docking bay passed in a blur. Before Justin knew it, he was being ushered onto a sleek shuttle. As the hatch sealed behind him, he caught one last glimpse of Nexus Prime through the viewports, the place that had been his home for the past year, now a hive of frenzied activity. The shuttle detached from the station with a soft thud, and Justin felt the subtle shift as artificial gravity took over. He sank into a plush seat, his mind turning from the events of the past hour. Admiral Thorne settled into the seat across from him. Your Highness, he began, his voice gentle but firm, I know this is overwhelming, but you're safe now. We're taking you to the Imperial flagship, where you'll be briefed on the situation. Justin nodded numbly, his eyes fixed on the rapidly shrinking form of Nexus Prime. As they approached the massive warship that had appeared out of nowhere, Justin felt a mix of awe and trepidation. The ship dwarfed anything he had seen before, its sleek lines and pulsing energy signatures, speaking of technology far beyond what he had encountered at the Academy. Once aboard the warship, Justin was escorted to a luxurious suite. The opulence of the room stood in stark contrast to his simple quarters at the Academy. As he took in his new surroundings, the door slid open, revealing a tall, muscular man with close-cropped hair and a stern expression. Your Highness, the man said, bowing slightly. I'm Major Marcus Steele, your personal bodyguard. I've been assigned to protect you and assist in your transition. Justin swallowed hard, trying to find his voice. Transition to what, exactly? Major Steele's expression softened slightly. To your role as heir to the human galactic empire, Your Highness. I know this is a lot to take in, but we'll start with the basics. Please have a seat. As Justin settled into a comfortable chair, Major Steele began to explain the complex web of galactic politics that had led to his covert placement at the Galactic Preparatory Academy. The young prince listened intently, his mind racing to process the information. Meanwhile, on Nexus Prime, the situation was rapidly deteriorating. Admiral Thorne, having returned to the station, found himself facing a diplomatic crisis. A delegation of high-ranking alien diplomats had arrived, demanding answers and threatening retaliation for the detention of their citizens. In a conference room hastily converted into a command center, Thorne faced off against Ambassador Zuaixnara of the Chalneth Confederacy. The ambassador's scales rippled with impossibly strong fury as he spoke. This is an outrage, Admiral, Zuaixnara hissed. You have no right to detain our students or lock down the station. Release them immediately, or face the consequences. Thorne remained calm, his voice steady. Ambassador, I understand your concerns. However, the security of Prince Justin and the stability of the station are my top priorities. I propose a meeting between yourself and the Prince to address these issues directly. Back on the Imperial flagship, Justin was just finishing his crash course in galactic politics when Major Steele received the communication from Admiral Thorne. The bodyguard's face tightened as he relayed the message to Justin. Your Highness, Admiral Thorne has requested your presence for a diplomatic meeting with the Chalneth ambassador. He believes your insight could be valuable in defusing the situation. Justin felt a knot form in his stomach. The thought of facing representatives of the species that had tormented him for so long filled him with dread. But as he looked at the expectant faces of Major Steele and the Imperial staff around him, he knew he had to step up to the challenge. Taking a deep breath, Justin squared his shoulders and nodded. I'll do it. Take me back to Nexus Prime. As the shuttle carrying Justin and his entourage approached the space station once more, the young prince steeled himself for the confrontation to come. The fate of not just Nexus Prime, but potentially the entire galaxy, now rested on his shoulders. As the shuttle carrying Justin and his entourage approached Nexus Prime once more, the young prince's mind raced with possibilities. The weight of his newfound responsibilities pressed heavily upon him, but amid the chaos, an idea began to take shape. Admiral Thorne, Justin said, his voice steady despite his nerves. I have a proposal. The Admiral turned, raising an eyebrow. What did you have in mind, Your Highness? Justin took a deep breath. I want to address the entire station. Everyone, students, faculty, diplomats. We need to defuse the situation, and I think I know how. Thorne and Major Steele exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of surprise and concern. With all due respect, Your Highness, Steele began, that could be extremely dangerous. We can't guarantee your safety in such an open forum. Justin shook his head. It's a risk we have to take. This is about more than just my safety now. It's about the future of human-alien relations. After a moment of tense silence, Admiral Thorne nodded. Very well. We'll make the necessary arrangements. Within the hour, Justin found himself standing before a hastily assembled crowd in Nexus Prime's main atrium. Alien faces of all shapes and colors stared back at him, their expressions ranging from curiosity to outright hostility. The young prince swallowed hard, acutely aware of the Imperial uniform he now wore. People of Nexus Prime, Justin began, his voice carried across the station by the communication system. I owe you all an apology. My presence here has been built on deception, and for that, I am truly sorry. He paused, scanning the crowd. His eyes fell on a group of Chalneth students, Krasthor among them, their scaled faces twisted in confusion and anger. To those who saw me as weak, as lesser, I understand your perspective. Humans are new to the galactic stage, and our capabilities are still unknown to many. But I stand before you today not as a conqueror or an enemy, but as a student eager to learn and grow alongside you all. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Justin took another deep breath and made his boldest move yet. Krasthor, he called out, and the others who made my time here challenging. Would you join me up here, please? The crowd parted as the Chalneth students hesitantly made their way forward. Krasthor's eyes darted between Justin and the Imperial guards, clearly expecting some form of retribution. As they reached the stage, Justin extended his hand to Krasthor. The Chalneth student stared at it, bewildered. I forgive you, Justin said, loud enough for all to hear. And I hope we can move forward together, learning from each other and building a better future for all our species. For a moment, the atrium was silent. Then, slowly, Krasthor reached out and clasped Justin's hand. The tension in the room seemed to deflate instantly. Seizing the moment, Ambassador ZYXNARA stepped forward. "Prince Justin," he said, his voice carrying across the atrium, "your words and actions today have shown wisdom beyond your years. In the spirit of cooperation, I propose a cultural exchange program between the human galactic empire and the Chalnith Confederacy." Other alien representatives quickly voiced their support, the mood in the atrium shifting from hostility to cautious optimism. As the diplomats began to discuss the details of potential exchange programs, Major Steele received an urgent communication. His face darkened as he listened, and he quickly made his way to Admiral Thorne's side. "Sir," Steele whispered, "we have a situation. Dr. Zelthorm, the Academy's headmaster, has been discovered compiling detailed reports on Prince Justin. He was working for an organization called the Galactic Conclave." Thorne's eyes narrowed. "Detain him immediately. We need to know what information has been compromised." As Imperial forces moved to apprehend Dr. Zelthorm, chaos erupted once more. The Arcturian headmaster attempted to flee, pushing through the crowd towards the docking bays. However, his escape was short-lived. In a display of unexpected cooperation, station security and Imperial guards worked together to cut off his escape routes. Justin watched from the stage as Dr. Zelthorm was brought back in restraints. The alien's usually composed demeanor now one of panic and defeat. The young prince felt a pang of betrayal. The headmaster had always been kind to him, offering words of encouragement when the bullying was at its worst. As the dust settled, Admiral Thorne addressed the crowd once more. "In light of recent events, we will be implementing enhanced security measures across Nexus Prime. This is for the safety of all residents, not just Imperial interests." The announcement was met with a mix of relief and apprehension. As the crowd began to disperse, Justin felt a gentle tug on his sleeve. He turned to find Zara, a young Arcturian student he had often studied with, looking at him with a mix of awe and grit. "Prince Justin," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "some of us. We were wondering if we could come with you. To New Terra, as part of an exchange program." Before Justin could respond, his personal communicator chirped. He glanced down to see an encrypted message from his mother, Empress Lydia. As he read her words of praise and warning, Justin realized that his actions today were just the beginning. The galaxy was watching, and the next steps he took would shape the future of human-alien relations for years to come. Looking back at Zara's hopeful face, Justin knew that the decision before him was about more than just a simple exchange program. It was about trust, about building bridges between worlds that had only just discovered each other's existence. As Admiral Thorne approached, likely to discuss the security implications of Zara's request, Justin steeled himself for the difficult conversations ahead. The young prince who had arrived at Nexus Prime as a quiet, bullied outsider now stood at the center of a galactic storm, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The young prince who had arrived at Nexus Prime as a quiet, bullied outsider now stood at the center of a galactic storm, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. But the challenges came sooner than anyone expected. As Justin and his entourage made their final preparations to depart Nexus Prime, alarms blared throughout the station. Red emergency lights bathed the corridors in an eerie glow as panic voices echoed through the comm system. "Admiral Thorne," a breathless voice crackled over the intercom. "We have a situation in the main concourse. A group of Chalnith extremists has taken control of the area. They're demanding the immediate withdrawal of Imperial forces and the arrest of Prince Justin." Thorne's face hardened as he turned to Justin and Major Steele. "It seems our departure will have to wait, Your Highness. We need to secure the station." As they hurried towards the command center, the gravity suddenly shifted, sending them stumbling against the walls. The lights flickered ominously. "They've breached our systems," Thorne growled, tapping furiously at his wrist computer. "Life support, artificial gravity. They're all compromised." Justin's mind raced. The situation was spiraling out of control, and he knew his presence was only making things worse. As they entered the command center, screens displayed chaos erupting throughout the station. Alien students huddled in fear, while others joined the protesters in their anti-human chants. A face appeared on the main view screen, a Chelnith with deep red scales and eyes blazing with fury. "I am Grocker," he snarled, "and I speak for those who will no longer tolerate human oppression. Prince Justin, you will answer for your crimes against alien dignity." The feed cut off abruptly, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Justin looked around at the worried faces of the Imperial staff, then at the security feeds showing terrified civilians caught in the crossfire of this political powder keg. "I need to address them," Justin said, his voice steady despite the fear churning in his gut. Major Steele stepped forward, his expression grave. "Your Highness, I strongly advise against that. We can't guarantee your safety if you expose yourself to these extremists." But Justin shook his head. "More people will get hurt if we don't de-escalate this now. I have to try." Before anyone could protest further, Justin activated the station-wide broadcast system. His face appeared on screens throughout Nexus Prime, from the bustling corridors to the now chaotic main concourse. "People of Nexus Prime," Justin began, his voice echoing through the station, "I hear your concerns, and I understand your anger. I'm willing to meet with Heir and his followers in a neutral location to address these issues directly. No tricks, no hidden agendas, just open dialogue." The offer hung in the air, and for a moment, the station seemed to hold its breath. Then a reply came through, Heir's voice, dripping with contempt but tinged with curiosity. "Very well, human prince. We will meet in docking bay 7 in 1 hour. Come alone or we start jettisoning hostages." As the transmission cut off, the command center erupted into frantic activity. Admiral Thorne barked orders to secure as much of the station as possible, while Major Steele argued vehemently against Justin's plan. Amidst the chaos, a familiar face approached. Thor, the Chalnith student who had once been Justin's tormentor. His scales were pale, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and commitment. "Your Highness," Thor said, his voice low, "I need to speak with you. It's about Grocker." Justin nodded, stepping aside with the Chalnith student. Thor's words came out in a rush. "Grocker is my uncle. He's always been extreme in his views. But I think I can help. Let me come with you to the meeting." Before Justin could respond, Major Steele approached with news that made the situation even more complex. "Your Highness, we've uncovered a connection between Heir and Dr. Zelthorm. It seems the headmaster was feeding information about you to these extremists." Justin's mind reeled at the implications. As he processed this new information, he noticed Zara, the young Arcturian student, pushing her way through the crowd of Imperial officers. "Prince Justin," she called out, her voice trembling. "They've taken hostages other students. They're being held in the maintenance section near docking bay 7. The weight of responsibility pressed down on Justin's shoulders. He looked at the worried faces around him, Major Steele, Admiral Thorne, Thor, Zara, and knew that his next decisions would shape the future of not just Nexus Prime, but potentially the entire galaxy. "Admiral," Justin said, his voice filled with purpose, "I need you to implement a covert operation to regain control of the station systems. Major Steele, prepare a team to secure the hostages, but do not engage until my signal. Thor, you're with me. We're going to meet Grocker." As the Imperial forces sprang into action, Justin and Thor made their way towards docking bay 7. The corridors were eerily quiet, the usual bustle of station life replaced by an oppressive silence. Justin's heart pounded in his chest, but he kept his expression neutral, aware that they were likely being watched. They reached the designated meeting point, a cavernous space usually filled with shuttles and cargo containers. Now, it was occupied by a group of armed Chalnith, their scales gleaming under the harsh lights. At their center stood Grokkar, his eyes narrowing as he saw Justin approach with Krosthor. "So, the human prince brings a traitor to our cause." Grokkar sneered, glaring at his nephew. Justin stepped forward, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. "We're here to talk, Grokkar, to find a solution that works for everyone." As Justin began to speak, laying out his vision for cooperation and understanding, he was acutely aware of the hidden currents running beneath this confrontation. Somewhere in the station's depths, Imperial Special Forces were working to regain control. The lives of innocent students hung in the balance. And beyond Nexus Prime, the galaxy watched and waited, poised on the brink of a conflict that could reshape the future of human-alien relations forever. The negotiations had begun, but the true test of Justin's leadership was yet to come. Calmly, Justin took a deep breath, steeling himself for the difficult conversation ahead. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station, cutting through the tense atmosphere. Red emergency lights bathed the docking bay in an eerie glow. Grokkanar's eyes narrowed, his hand tightening on his weapon. "What treachery is this, human?" he snarled. Before Justin could respond, a booming voice echoed through the station's comm system. "Attention all personnel on Nexus Prime. This is Admiral Zorn of the Galactic Council Peacekeeping Fleet. We demand an immediate cessation of all hostilities. Stand down now, or face the consequences." Justin's heart raced. The situation, already precarious, had just become infinitely more complex. He glanced at Krosthor, seeing his own concern mirrored in the young Chalnata's eyes. "Grokkar," Justin said, keeping his voice steady, "we need to work together now more than ever. If we don't de-escalate this situation quickly, the Galactic Council will intervene, and all our progress will be lost." The Chalnath leader's scales rippled with agitation. "And why should I trust you, human prince? How do I know this isn't some elaborate Imperial trap?" Justin's mind raced, weighing his options. In that moment, he made a decision that would change the course of events on Nexus Prime and beyond. "I'm going aboard Admiral Zorn's flagship," he announced. "I'll negotiate directly with the Galactic Council to prevent military intervention." Grokkanar's eyes widened in surprise. "You would risk yourself like that?" Justin nodded firmly. "Yes, but I need your help. Krosthor," he turned to the younger Chalnath. "Will you come with me? Show the Galactic Council that humans and Chalnath can work together?" Krosthor straightened, his earlier fear replaced by purpose. "I will, Your Highness." As Justin activated his communicator to contact Admiral Thorn, Grokkanar watched with a mixture of suspicion and grudging respect. The young human prince was either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish, perhaps both. Minutes later, Justin and Krosthor boarded a small Imperial shuttle. As they lifted off from Nexus Prime, Justin caught a glimpse of the imposing Galactic Council warships through the view screen. His palms were sweaty, but his voice remained steady as he opened a communication channel. "This is Prince Justin of the Human Galactic Empire, requesting permission to board the flagship of Admiral Zorn." There was a tense pause before a gruff voice responded. "Unidentified shuttle. Maintain your current position. Any deviation will be met with lethal force." Suddenly, a warning shot blazed past their hull, causing the shuttle to shudder. Krosthor gripped his seat, scales paling. "They're going to destroy us," he hissed. Justin leaned forward, speaking clearly into the comm. "Admiral Zorn, I am the heir to the Human Galactic Empire. I come in peace to negotiate a resolution to the conflict on Nexus Prime. Please, allow us to dock." Another agonizing pause followed. Justin held his breath, acutely aware that their lives hung in the balance. Finally, the comm crackled to life. "Prince Justin, you are cleared to approach Docking Bay 3. Any hostile action will result in immediate termination." As they maneuvered towards the massive Galactic Council flagship, Justin's mind raced through diplomatic protocols and negotiation strategies. He knew that the next few hours would be crucial not just for Nexus Prime, but for the future of human-alien relations across the galaxy. The shuttle touched down in the brightly lit docking bay. As the airlock hissed open, Justin and Krosthor were met by a contingent of heavily armed Galactic Council security officers. Their weapons trained on the unlikely pair, fingers hovering near triggers. "Follow us," one of the officers barked. "Admiral Zorn is waiting." As they were escorted through the gleaming corridors of the flagship, Justin marveled at the diversity of the crew. Species he had only read about in xenobiology texts worked side by side, a testament to the unifying power of the Galactic Council. They entered the command center, a vast chamber dominated by holographic displays and bustling with activity. At its center stood Admiral Zorn, a towering Vexillian with iridescent scales and piercing violet eyes. The Admiral's gaze locked onto Justin, radiating skepticism and barely concealed impatience. "Prince Justin," Zorn's voice rumbled, "you have put me in a rather difficult position. Explain yourself and make it quick. My patience wears thin." Justin took a deep breath, acutely aware that the fate of Nexus Prime, and perhaps the galaxy, rested on his next words. He began to speak, laying out the complex situation on the station and the progress they had made in negotiations. Krosthor chimed in, corroborating Justin's account and emphasizing the potential for peaceful resolution. As they spoke, a junior officer approached Admiral Zorn, whispering urgently in his ear. The Vexillian's expression darkened, his scales shifting to a deeper hue. "It seems," Zorn interrupted, "that there is more to the situation than meets the eye. Our intelligence officers have intercepted communications suggesting a third party is working to escalate the conflict on Nexus Prime." Justin's mind raced, connecting the dots. "The Galactic Conclave," he breathed. "They must be behind this." Admiral Zorn's eyes narrowed. "You know of them?" Justin nodded, quickly explaining the discovery of Dr. Zelthorn's betrayal and the headmaster's connection to the mysterious organization. As he spoke, he could see the wheels turning in the Admiral's mind. "This changes things," Zorn admitted grudgingly. "Perhaps your proposal for a joint operation has merit after all, young Prince." Just then, Justin's communicator chirped. It was Captain Vance, reporting their success in regaining control of Nexus Prime's vital systems. However, the captain's voice was tense as he relayed news of a hidden transmission detected leaving the station, heading for deep space. Justin looked up at Admiral Zorn, seeing his own concern mirrored in the Vexillian's alien features. The young prince realized that they stood at a crossroads, with the potential to forge an unlikely alliance against a common threat. "Admiral," Justin said, his voice filled with newfound confidence, "I believe we have an opportunity here. Not just a dedication to crisis on Nexus Prime, but to uncover the truth behind these shadowy manipulations. Will you work with us?" Admiral Zorn studied Justin intently, his violet eyes unreadable. The fate of countless lives hung in the balance as the Vexillian considered his response. The tension in the air was palpable as Justin awaited the Admiral's decision. "Very well, Prince Justin," Admiral Zorn said at last, his scales shifting to a lighter hue. "We will work together to persistence this crisis and uncover the truth behind these manipulations." No sooner had the words left the Admiral's mouth than Justin's communicator chirped urgently. Captain Vance's voice crackled through, his tone a mixture of excitement and concern. "Your Highness, we've made a breakthrough. The hidden transmission we detected leaving the station, we've managed to decrypt it. You need to see this immediately." Justin exchanged a glance with Admiral Zorn, who nodded gravely. "Patch it through to the flagship's main display, Captain," Justin instructed. The holographic screen at the center of the command center flickered to life, revealing a series of encoded messages. As the decryption algorithm worked its magic, the true nature of the transmission became clear. By the stars, Krosthor breathed, his scales paling as he read the contents. The message contained detailed orders for sleeper agents embedded within various factions on Nexus Prime, including the Chalneth Extremists and Corrupt Station Security. Their mission: to escalate tensions and provoke a large-scale conflict between the human Galactic Empire and the Galactic Council. The Galactic Conclave, Justin said, his suspicions confirmed. They're playing us all against each other. Admiral Zorn's violet eyes narrowed as he absorbed the implications. This changes everything. We're not dealing with a simple uprising or diplomatic incident. This is a calculated attempt to destabilize both our powers. Justin's mind raced, formulating a plan. Admiral, we need to act fast. If we can expose these agents and neutralize their influence, we might be able to de-escalate the situation on Nexus Prime before it spirals out of control. The Vexillian Admiral studied Justin intently, clearly reassessing the young human prince. What do you propose? A joint operation, Justin said, his voice steady with newfound confidence. We use the Conclave's own tactics against them. Stage a false escalation of the conflict to draw out their agents, then strike when they reveal themselves. Admiral Zorn's scales rippled with surprise and a hint of admiration. A bold strategy, young prince. Risky but potentially effective. Justin turned to Krosthor, who had been listening intently. We'll need your help. Can you coordinate with your uncle and the other Chalneth? Make them believe the conflict is escalating without actually putting anyone in danger? Krosthor straightened, his earlier fear replaced by persistence. I'll do whatever it takes to stop this manipulation, Your Highness. With a nod of approval from Admiral Zorn, Justin opened a secure channel to Admiral Thorn on Nexus Prime. As he relayed the plan, he could see the pieces falling into place. I'm dispatching a team of Vexillian commandos to assist your special forces, Admiral Thorn, Zorn added. They'll work with Captain Vance to implement this operation. As the details were ironed out, Justin prepared to return to Nexus Prime. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him, but he felt a surge of purpose. This was his chance to prove himself, not just to his people, but to the entire galactic community. The shuttle ride back to the station was tense, filled with last-minute preparations and communications. As they approached Nexus Prime, Justin could see the Galactic Council peacekeepers following in formation, their presence a crucial part of the deception. The docking bay erupted into carefully orchestrated chaos as they landed. Imperial troops and Chalneth forces engaged in a shouting match, weapons raised but not fired. Justin stepped into the fray, his expression grim, as he played his part in the elaborate ruse. "Stand down," he shouted, his voice carrying across the bay. "This ends now." As if on cue, the station's communication channels exploded with false reports of weapon deployments and troop movements. The illusion of an impending battle spread rapidly through Nexus Prime. From the command center, Justin watched as the plan unfolded. Captain Vance's team, working in tandem with the Vexillian commandos, monitored every communication channel and security feed. It wasn't long before they detected unusual activity. Multiple system breaches detected. A Vexillian operative reported. Security protocols being overridden in sectors 3, 7, and 12. "That's them," Justin said, leaning forward. "The sleeper agents are making their move." As the combined human and Galactic Council forces moved to intercept the exposed agents, a new alert flashed across the main screen. An escape pod had been launched from a restricted area of the station. "We've got a runner," Captain Vance announced. Sensors indicate a single occupant, likely a high-ranking operative. Justin's eyes narrowed. "We can't let them escape. Admiral Thorn, can you intercept?" The Admiral's response was swift. "Launching fighter squadron now. We'll catch them before they reach the asteroid belt." As the operation reached its climax, Justin felt a mix of exhilaration and anxiety. They had successfully exposed the Conclave's agents, but the true test would come in the aftermath. Could they turn this victory into a lasting peace? The command center erupted into cheers as reports flooded in. Conclave agents were being apprehended across the station, and the escape pod had been successfully intercepted. As the immediate crisis subsided, Justin knew that his work was just getting started. The galaxy was changing, and he would need to be ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The galaxy was changing, and he would need to be ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the immediate crisis on Nexus Prime subsided, Justin found himself thrust into a whirlwind of activity. The successful resolution of the conflict had brought a newfound stability to the station, but it also heralded a series of unexpected developments that would soon test the young prince's diplomatic skills to their limits. Just as Justin was preparing for his long-awaited journey to New Terra, his communicator chirped with an urgent message from Empress Lydia. The holographic image of his mother appeared before him, her expression a mixture of excitement and concern. "Justin, I have news that will alter your plans," she began, her voice steady but tinged with a hint of uncertainty. "A delegation from the Zephyrian collective has requested a meeting with you on Nexus Prime." Justin's eyes widened in surprise. The Zephyrians were a highly advanced and notoriously reclusive civilization that had long remained isolated from galactic affairs. Their sudden interest in diplomatic relations was unprecedented. They specifically asked for you, citing your handling of the recent crisis as evidence of humanity's potential. Empress Lydia continued, "This is an opportunity we cannot afford to miss. I need you to postpone your departure and meet with them." Justin nodded, his mind already racing with the implications of this development. "Of course, Mother. I'll make the necessary arrangements immediately." As he ended the communication, Justin turned to find Admiral Thorne and Captain Vance already approaching, having overheard the exchange. "Your Highness," Admiral Thorne began, his voice low and serious, "the arrival of the Zephyrians will undoubtedly attract attention from other species. We need to prepare for an influx of diplomatic envoys." Captain Vance nodded in agreement. "I'll coordinate with station security to ensure we can accommodate the increased traffic without compromising our defenses." Justin spent the next few hours in a flurry of activity, coordinating with various departments to prepare for the Zephyrian delegation's arrival. As he worked, he couldn't shake the feeling that this meeting would mark a turning point in human history. The following day, a hush fell over Nexus Prime's main docking bay as the Zephyrian vessel approached. The ship defied conventional design, its crystalline structure gleaming in the starlight as it gracefully maneuvered into position. Justin stood at the forefront of the welcoming party, flanked by Admiral Thorne and a contingent of Imperial guards. As the airlock hissed open, Justin's breath caught in his throat. The Zephyrian delegation emerged, led by a tall, ethereal being with translucent skin and eyes that seemed to glow with an inner light. The ambassador, introducing himself as Zalvor, moved with a fluid grace that made him appear almost weightless. "Prince Justin," Zalvor spoke, his voice a melodious whisper that somehow carried clearly across the bay. "I am honored to meet the one who has shown such wisdom in the face of adversity." Justin bowed slightly, careful to maintain eye contact with the alien dignitary. "Ambassador Zalvor, welcome to Nexus Prime. We are honored by your presence and look forward to fostering a new era of cooperation between our peoples." As they made their way to the conference room, Justin couldn't help but notice the subtle reactions of the station's diverse inhabitants. Whispers and pointed looks followed in their wake, a testament to the historic nature of this meeting. Once seated in the privacy of the conference room, Zalvor's demeanor shifted subtly. His glowing eyes seemed to intensify as he leaned forward, producing a small, intricately designed device from within the folds of his shimmering robes. "Prince Justin, we come bearing more than just words of friendship," Zalvor said, his voice taking on a note of reverence. "We bring you the Stellar Codex, an artifact of immense power and knowledge." Justin leaned in, fascinated by the device. Its surface seemed to shimmer and shift, hinting at the vast amounts of information contained within. The Codex is said to contain the collective knowledge of countless extinct civilizations, Zalvor explained. We believe that humanity's unique perspective may be key to unlocking its secrets. As Justin reached out to accept the Codex, a sudden commotion outside the conference room caught everyone's attention. Captain Vance burst in, his expression a mix of urgency and excitement. "Your Highness, Admiral," he said, slightly out of breath. "We've discovered something during our security sweep. There's a hidden chamber deep within the station's core, containing what appears to be an ancient alien supercomputer." Justin exchanged a glance with Admiral Thorne, then turned back to Zalvor, whose expression remained unreadable. The young prince realized that the situation on Nexus Prime had just become far more complex than he could have imagined. As news of the Zephyrian delegation's arrival and the discovery of the hidden supercomputer spread, Nexus Prime buzzed with activity. Representatives from various species began to arrive, eager to witness this historic moment and stake their claim in the unfolding events. Justin found himself at the center of a diplomatic maelstrom, balancing the demands of the Zephyrians, the curiosity of other alien races, and the security concerns raised by Admiral Thorne. As he navigated these treacherous waters, he couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the Zephyrians' sudden interest in humanity than met the eye. With the stellar codex in his possession and the mysterious supercomputer waiting to be explored, Justin knew that the decisions he made in the coming days would have far-reaching consequences. The young prince steeled himself for the challenges ahead, acutely aware that the fate of not just humanity, but perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Balance hung in the balance. As the first rays of artificial dawn illuminated Nexus Prime, Justin found himself unable to shake off the nagging suspicion that there was more to the Zephyrians' sudden interest in humanity than met the eye. The weight of the stellar codex in his quarters and the newly discovered supercomputer in the station's core only added to his unease. Determined to uncover the truth, Justin reached out to Krosthor and Zara, his trusted companions from the Academy. They met in a secluded corridor, away from prying eyes and ears. "I need your help," Justin said, his voice low. "Something doesn't add up with the Zephyrians, and we need to find out what they're really after." Krosthor's mandibles clicked in agreement. "I've noticed their behavior seems off, even for aliens." Zara nodded, her antenna twitching with excitement. "What's the plan, Your Highness?" Justin led them to an unused storage compartment he had scouted earlier. "We're going to set up our own surveillance center right here. Zara, can you repurpose some equipment from the Academy's science lab?" "Consider it done," she replied, her eyes gleaming with the prospect of a technical challenge. Within hours, the trio had transformed the dusty compartment into a makeshift command center. Monitors flickered to life, displaying various feeds from around the station. Justin leaned in, studying the movements of the Zephyrian delegates with intense focus. As days passed, patterns began to emerge. Ambassador Zalvor made frequent trips to the communication hub, always during the station's night cycle when traffic was minimal. Zara managed to intercept fragments of encrypted transmissions, all directed to an unknown location outside the station. "Look at this," Krosthor called out, pointing to a screen showing a Zephyrian escort requesting access to a restricted power distribution node. "That's the third time this week they've asked for a tour of our energy systems." Justin frowned, the pieces starting to come together in his mind. "They're mapping our power grid. But why?" Their covert operation was interrupted by a station-wide announcement from Dr. Alara Voss, the lead xenoarchaeologist working on the ancient supercomputer. Her voice crackled through the speakers, barely containing her excitement. "Attention all personnel. We've made a breakthrough in deciphering the supercomputer's data storage system. Preliminary findings suggest that Nexus Prime was once part of a vast network of similar stations, created by an extinct race known as the Precursors. More information will be made available as we continue our analysis. As the announcement ended, Justin felt a sudden warmth against his chest. He pulled out the stellar codex, which had begun to emit a faint, pulsating glow. The artifact seemed to be responding to the supercomputer's activation. "This can't be a coincidence," Justin muttered, studying the glowing device. Before they could discuss the implications, Justin's communicator buzzed with an urgent message from Admiral Thorne. "Your Highness, we've discovered a hidden Zephyrian device attached to one of our main power conduits. I need you in the command center immediately." Justin exchanged worried glances with his friends. "Keep monitoring the situation," he instructed as he rushed out. In the command center, Admiral Thorne briefed Justin on the device. "Initial scans show it was designed to siphon massive amounts of energy from our power grid. We've removed it, but this is a clear violation of our agreement with the Zephyrians." Justin's teeth gritted. "I'll speak with Ambassador Zalvor directly. Set up a private meeting under the guise of discussing the Interspecies Council for the Stellar Codex." Hours later, Justin found himself face-to-face with the Zephyrian leader in a small conference room. The ambassador's ethereal form seemed to shimmer with terrifying energy. "Ambassador Zalvor," Justin began, keeping his tone neutral, "I couldn't help but notice your delegation's interest in our power systems. Is there a particular reason for this fascination?" Zalvor's translucent skin rippled, a subtle change that didn't escape Justin's notice. "Mere scientific curiosity, Your Highness. Your technology is unique in its implementation." Justin leaned forward, his gaze intense. "And the device we found attached to our power conduit? Was that also out of scientific curiosity?" The ambassador's skin began to fluctuate rapidly in color, shifting from its usual pale blue to a deep purple. Before Zalvor could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Admiral Thorne's voice cut through the chaos. "Your Highness, we've detected a massive energy surge approaching Nexus Prime. Source unknown, but it's coming from the direction of the Zephyrians' encrypted transmissions." Justin shot to his feet, the stellar codex pulsing urgently against his chest. As he raced towards the command center, he realized that the delicate balance he had been trying to maintain was about to be shattered. Whatever was heading their way, it was clear that Nexus Prime, and perhaps the entire galaxy, was on the brink of a momentous change. Whatever was heading their way, it was clear that Nexus Prime, and perhaps the entire galaxy, was on the brink of a momentous event. Justin burst into the command center, his heart racing. The room was a flurry of activity, with officers frantically working at their stations. Admiral Thorne's face was grim as he turned to the young prince. "Your Highness, the energy surge is unlike anything we've ever seen. It's approaching at an alarming rate." Justin's mind raced, processing the information. He straightened his back, his voice steady as he issued commands. "Raise the station's shields to maximum power. Evacuate all non-essential personnel to the lower levels immediately." As the station's alarms blared, Justin quickly assembled a crisis team. Admiral Thorne and Admiral Zorn stood at attention, their expressions tense. Dr. Ilara Voss, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and excitement, joined them, along with representatives from the key alien species present on Nexus Prime. The young prince turned to face Ambassador Zalvor, who had been escorted to the command center. "Ambassador, it's time for the truth. What do you know about this energy surge?" Zalvor's skin rippled with a range of colors, his composure cracking under the intensity of Justin's gaze. We detected the awakening of an ancient network, the Precursor's network. We sought to harness its power for ourselves." The alien's admission sent a ripple of shock through the room. Justin pressed further. "And the device we found? The encrypted transmissions?" "Our civilization faces an existential threat," Zalvor said, his voice barely above a whisper. a resource shortage that could destroy us. We were desperate. Before Justin could respond, the stellar codex against his chest pulsed with an intense heat. He pulled it out, watching in awe as it began to interface with Nexus Prime systems. Holographic projections filled the air around them, displaying complex schematics and instructions. Dr. Voss gasped, her fingers flying over a nearby console. These are blueprints. They show how to reconfigure the station's power grid to safely channel the incoming surge. Justin's mind raced, weighing the risks and potential consequences. The alien representatives began to argue, their voices rising in panic and doubt. But the young prince knew they had no time for debate. "We're implementing these changes immediately," he announced, silencing the room. "Dr. Voss, coordinate with the engineering teams. Admiral Thorne, oversee the evacuation and prepare for any contingencies." As the command center erupted into action, long-range sensors blared another alert. Admiral Zorn's voice cut through the chaos. "Your Highness, a fleet of unknown ships just emerged from hyperspace at the system's edge." Justin studied the readings, his brow furrowed. They don't match any known designs. Could they be precursor ships? The engineering teams worked at a frantic pace, racing against time to implement the Codex's instructions. Justin felt the station shudder beneath his feet as the energy surge approached. He gripped the command console, his knuckles tightening. "Brace for impact," Admiral Thorne shouted. The surge hit Nexus Prime with tremendous force. The station groaned and shook violently, but the modified power grid held. Justin watched in awe as dormant systems across the station sprang to life, revealing technologies beyond their wildest imaginations. As the tremor subsided, the precursor fleet arrived, taking up defensive positions around Nexus Prime. A powerful transmission emanated from the lead vessel, interfacing directly with the ancient supercomputer in the station's core. The command center fell silent as a holographic image materialized before them, a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting and flowing, addressed the assembled leaders. "I am the Guardian," it announced, its voice resonating through their minds. "I oversee the Precursor Network, a failsafe created to protect this galaxy from a threat that nearly destroyed us eons ago." The Guardian's gaze settled on Justin, recognizing the stellar codex in his possession. "You have played a crucial role in reactivating our network. Nexus Prime and its sister stations form a massive defense system designed to safeguard all sentient life." Before Justin could process this revelation, alarms blared once more. The station's enhanced sensors detected a massive disturbance at the edge of the galaxy. "It is the ancient enemy," the Guardian confirmed, its form flickering with urgency, awakening from millennia of dormancy. Justin's mind reeled at the implications. He turned to Admiral Thorne, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Send an urgent message to Empress Lydia. Request immediate reinforcements from the human Galactic Empire." As the command center buzzed with renewed activity, Justin surveyed the diverse group of beings around him. Humans, Zephyrians, and representatives from across the galaxy, all now united by a common threat. "We stand at a crossroads," Justin addressed them, his voice carrying the authority of a leader forged in crisis. "The galaxy as we know it faces an existential threat. We must work together, activating the Precursor Network and preparing our defenses." The young prince turned to the Guardian, his eyes blazing with determination. "Tell us everything you know about this enemy. We need to be ready." As the Guardian began to share its knowledge, Justin felt the weight of countless civilizations resting on his shoulders. The former bullied human child now stood at the center of a galactic crisis, prepared to lead the fight for survival against an ancient and terrifying foe. "Enemy," as the Guardian's words faded, Justin's mind raced with the enormity of the task before him. He turned to the assembled leaders, his voice steady and resolute. "We have no time to waste. Admiral Thorne, Initiate full integration of the precursor systems with our existing technology. Dr. Voss, I need you and your team to continue decoding the ancient supercomputer. Focus on any information about these void devourers and potential weaknesses we can exploit. The command center burst into action as Justin's orders were relayed throughout the station. He strode to a large holographic display, gesturing for the military and diplomatic representatives to gather around. "This is now our war room," Justin announced, his fingers dancing across the controls to bring up a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. "We need to coordinate our efforts across all species and systems if we're to stand a chance against this threat." As the assembled leaders began discussing strategies, Justin's communicator chimed. It was a priority message from Empress Lydia herself. He stepped aside to view the holographic transmission. "Justin," the Empress's face was grave but determined, "I've received your report. The entire human galactic empire fleet is en route to Nexus Prime. They should arrive within 48 hours. I'm granting you full authority to act as my representative in coordinating our defense efforts. The fate of the galactic realm rests in your hands, nephew. Make us proud." The transmission ended, leaving Justin with a mix of relief and apprehension. He rejoined the War Council, quickly bringing them up to speed on the incoming reinforcements. "Admiral Zorn," Justin called out, "I need you to coordinate with the incoming fleet and any other allied ships that arrive. We need to form a united armada, capable of working together despite our differences." The Admiral nodded, immediately setting to work on integrating the diverse array of ships gathering around Nexus Prime. As the preparations continued, Dr. Voss approached Justin, her eyes wide with excitement and fear. "Your Highness, we've made a breakthrough in decoding the precursor data. The ancient enemy. They're called the Void Devourers. They're a hive mind species that consumes entire star systems for energy. But there's more. We've uncovered schematics for weapons specifically designed to combat them." Justin's mind raced with the implications. He quickly summoned Major Steele, entrusting him with overseeing the rapid production of these precursor weapons. "Use every available resource," Justin instructed. "Convert all non-essential facilities into production centers if you have to. We need these weapons as soon as possible." As Major Steele hurried off to begin the massive undertaking, Justin noticed a group of Zephyrian scientists approaching hesitantly. Ambassador Zalvor stepped forward, his skin rippling with a mix of shame and purpose. "Your Highness," the ambassador began, "we wish to offer our assistance. Our energy manipulation technology, combined with these precursor designs, could create a weapon capable of disrupting the Void Devourer's hive mind. We want to make amends for our earlier actions." Justin studied the Zephyrians for a moment before nodding. "We'll need every advantage we can get. Work with our engineers to integrate your technology. But know that I'll be watching you closely." As the Zephyrians joined the frantic activity around them, Justin felt a familiar warmth against his chest. He pulled out the Stellar Codex, watching as it interfaced with Nexus Prime systems once more. New information flooded the displays around him. "Guardian," Justin called out, "what's happening?" The energy being materialized beside him. The Codex is activating a network of subspace beacons. This will allow for faster-than-light communication across the galaxy, essential for coordinating our defense efforts. Justin's eyes widened as he realized the implications. We can link up with other precursor stations, create a galaxy-wide defense grid. He quickly began sending out communications to other reactivated stations, sharing tactical data and coordinating strategies. As he worked, long-range sensors blared an alert. Admiral Thorne's voice cut through the noise. "Your Highness, we've detected the first wave of Void Devourer scout ships entering the outer regions of charted space." Justin's face hardened as he absorbed the news. He turned to the Guardian, his voice steady. "Tell me everything you know about their capabilities and weaknesses. We need to prepare our forces." As the Guardian shared its knowledge, Justin began formulating a plan. He ordered the evacuation of civilian populations from nearby systems, creating a buffer zone around Nexus Prime. Then, using the station's enhanced sensors, he identified vulnerable points in the Void Devourer's formation. "Admiral Zorn," Justin called out, "prepare our fastest ships equipped with the new precursor weapons. We're going to launch a series of hit-and-run attacks to disrupt their advance." As the orders went out, Justin received an unexpected message. It was from Kraz Thor, his former bully-turned-ally. The young Chalnet had volunteered to lead a squadron of fighters in the upcoming battle. Inspired by Kraz Thor's courage, other alien students from the Galactic Preparatory Academy stepped forward, forming a diverse youth corps ready to defend their home. As the main Void Devourer fleet approached, Justin made a daring decision. He would use himself as bait to draw out the enemy's command structure. Taking a deep breath, he opened a channel broadcasting on all frequencies. "Attention, Void Devourers," Justin's voice rang out across space. "I possess the key to the Precursor's ultimate weapon. If you want it, come and get it." The response was immediate. The enemy fleet altered course, converging on Nexus Prime. Justin watched the tactical displays, his heart pounding as the massive armada entered the system. "Activate all defenses," he ordered, his voice calm despite the tension. A shimmering energy shield enveloped Nexus Prime and the surrounding Allied fleet. Justin stood at the center of the command hub, the combined forces of humans, aliens, and ancient precursor technology at his fingertips. As the Void Devourers launched their first assault, he began coordinating the defense, his mind focused solely on the battle ahead. The hope of the universe hung in the balance as energy weapons flared and ships clashed in the space around Nexus Prime. Justin's fingers flew across the controls, directing the Allied fleet in a complex series of maneuvers. The station's enhanced weaponry opened fire, tearing through the enemy's front lines. As the battle raged, Justin knew this was only the beginning. The true test of their preparations and unity was yet to come. The Void Devourer's relentless assault pushed the defenders to their limits, but Justin's strategy held firm in the initial stages of the battle. Energy beams crisscrossed the space around Nexus Prime as the Allied fleet engaged the enemy. Justin's fingers danced across the command console, coordinating the complex maneuvers of their ships. The station's enhanced weaponry tore through the front lines of the Void Devourers, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. "We've breached their outer defenses," Admiral Thorne reported, his voice tight with concentration. "But their numbers are overwhelming. We can't hold them back forever." Justin nodded grimly, his eyes scanning the tactical displays. The sheer size of the enemy force was staggering, their ships stretching beyond the horizon of their long-range sensors. He knew they needed a game-changing move to turn the tide. "It's time," Justin declared, his voice carrying across the command center. "Activate the Zephyrian precursor weapon." A hush fell over the room as technicians scrambled to comply. The experimental device, integrated into Nexus Prime Central Spire, began to power up. A low hum reverberated throughout the station, growing in intensity with each passing second. Suddenly, alarms blared across the command center. "Your Highness," Admiral Zorn called out, "the Void Devourers have launched a concentrated assault on our shield generators." Justin's mind raced, quickly assessing the situation. "Admiral Thorne, redirect your Imperial warships to form a protective screen around the vulnerable areas. We need to buy time for the weapon to charge fully." As Thorne's ships maneuvered into position, Justin watched the energy levels of the new weapon climb steadily. The Void Devourers hammered at their defenses, each impact sending shudders through the station. Just as the shields began to falter, the weapon reached full power. "Fire!" Justin ordered, his voice cutting through the chaos. A blinding flash erupted from Nexus Prime's central spire. A beam of concentrated energy lanced out, tearing through the Void Devourer fleet. The effect was immediate and devastating. Thousands of enemy ships lost coordination, their hive mind connection disrupted by the weapon's unique energy signature. "Now's our chance," Justin declared, his eyes alight with grit. "All ships, commence counterattack." The Allied fleet surged forward, seizing the opportunity. Leading the charge was Krogthor's squadron of Chalna fighters. Justin watched with a mixture of pride and amazement as his former bully coordinated devastating attack runs on the disoriented enemy vessels. For a moment, it seemed as though victory was within their grasp. But the Void Devourers were far from defeated. As Justin observed the battle, a massive ship emerged from the heart of the enemy fleet. It dwarfed even Nexus Prime, its surface pulsing with an otherworldly energy. "Guardian," Justin called out. "What is that?" The energy being materialized beside him, its form flickering with urgency. It is their central intelligence hub. If left unchecked, it will re-establish control over their forces. Justin's mind raced, formulating a plan. He knew they had to strike at the heart of the enemy's command structure. "We need to board that ship," he announced, turning to face the assembled leaders. "A small team can infiltrate and sabotage it from within." Admiral Thorne stepped forward, his face etched with concern. "Your Highness, with all due respect, we can't risk sending you on such a dangerous mission." Justin met the Admiral's gaze, his voice steady. "This is our best chance to end this battle decisively. I won't ask anyone to take a risk I'm not willing to take myself." As preparations for the boarding action began, long-range sensors detected a new threat. A second wave of Void Devourer ships approached from the Galactic Rim, threatening to overwhelm their already strained defenses. Justin's communicator chimed with an urgent message from Empress Lydia. Her holographic image appeared before him, her face tight with worry. "Justin, our fleet has encountered heavy resistance in neighboring systems. We won't be able to reach Nexus Prime for at least another 24 hours. You must hold the line until we arrive." The young prince absorbed the news, his mind already adapting their strategy. "Understood, Aunt Lydia. We'll do whatever it takes." As Justin finalized the plan for boarding the Void Devourer command ship, Dr. Alaravos rushed into the command center. Her eyes were wide with excitement. "Your Highness, we've made a breakthrough. The Precursor database contains information about a fatal weakness in the Void Devourer's central intelligence. It's vulnerable to a specific frequency of energy pulses." Justin's eyes lit up at this revelation. "Can we modify our plan to exploit this weakness?" Dr. Voss nodded, her fingers flying across a datapad. "We can create a precursor energy pulse device to deploy on the enemy command ship. It should disrupt their entire network." With this new information, Justin assembled his strike team. Major Steele, Krogthor, and Zara stood ready, along with a group of specially trained operatives from various alien species. Each member brought unique skills and perspectives to the mission. As they prepared to board the assault shuttle, Justin addressed the assembled forces one last time. His words carried across the command center, broadcast to every ship and station in their alliance. "We stand at the precipice of history," Justin began, his voice steady and clear. "The enemy we face threatens not just our lives, but the very fabric of our galaxy. But we are not alone. Look around you. Humans, Zephyrians, Chalnath, and countless other species stand united. Our diversity is our strength. Together, we will overcome this threat and secure a future for all sentient life." A chorus of cheers erupted from the assembled forces. Justin turned to his strike team, his eyes blazing with purpose. "Let's move out." As they boarded the assault shuttle, Justin felt the weight of countless civilizations resting on his shoulders. The battle for Nexus Prime raged on, the station's defenses straining under the renewed Void Devourer assault. The Allied fleet fought desperately to keep the enemy at bay, buying time for Justin's daring mission. The assault shuttle's engines roared to life, propelling them towards the massive Void Devourer command ship. Justin gripped the stellar codex tightly, its warmth pulsing against his chest. As they approached their target, he knew that the next few hours would determine the fate of the galactic realm. The shuttle weaved through the chaos of the battle, dodging energy beams and debris. Justin steeled himself for what lay ahead, acutely aware that their mission would take them into the heart of the enemy's stronghold. Command ship's interior. As the shuttle approached its target, the vastness of the Void Devourer vessel became apparent, dwarfing their small craft. Major Steele's hands moved deftly across the controls, guiding the assault shuttle through a storm of enemy fire. The view outside the cockpit was a chaos of energy beams and explosions as smaller Void Devourer ships swarmed around them. "Incoming!" Krosthor shouted, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. Justin gripped his seat as the shuttle rolled sharply to avoid a barrage of enemy fire. Through the viewport, he saw a familiar formation of fighters cutting through the enemy ranks. "It's Krosthor's squadron," Zara announced, her voice tinged with relief. The Chalna fighters executed a series of coordinated attacks, creating a temporary gap in the enemy's defenses. Major Steele seized the opportunity, pushing the shuttle's engines to their limits as they rocketed towards the command ship's hull. "Cutting tools ready," one of the operatives reported as they neared their target. The shuttle's landing gear extended, magnetic clamps engaging with the alien vessel's surface. As soon as they were secure, Justin and his team sprang into action. They donned their protective gear and activated their personal energy shields, a shimmering field enveloping each of them. Using precursor-enhanced cutting tools, they quickly breached the outer hull. The airlock hissed open, revealing a bizarre, organic-looking interior. Bioluminescent veins pulse along the walls, casting an eerie glow throughout the corridor. "Stay alert," Justin warned as they entered. "We don't know what kind of internal defenses they have." The team moved cautiously through the twisting passages, their weapons at the ready. The air was thick and humid, filled with an acrid scent that made their eyes water. Suddenly, the walls around them began to shift and bulge. "Watch out!" Major Steele called out as gelatinous creatures emerged from the living tissue of the ship. The team's energy weapons flared to life, cutting through the amorphous beings. Justin's heart raced as he fired his weapon, watching the gelatinous attackers dissolve under the intense energy. They pressed forward, fighting off wave after wave of the ship's bizarre defenses. As they delved deeper into the vessel, the organic nature of their surroundings became more pronounced. The floor beneath their feet pulsated rhythmically, like a giant heartbeat. Tendrils of unknown purpose snaked across the ceiling, recoiling as the team passed beneath them. "We're getting close to something big," Zara said, her Arcturian senses on high alert. "I can feel a concentrated psychic presence ahead." They emerged into a vast chamber that seemed to be the nerve center of the entire ship. Suspended in the center was a massive, pulsating structure that resembled a brain. Surrounding it were towering, bioengineered monstrosities, the elite warriors of the Void Devourers. "That must be their central intelligence," Justin said, his voice barely above a whisper. The elite Void Devourer warriors turned towards the intruders, their eyes glowing with malevolent intent. Without hesitation, they charged towards Justin's team. Krosthor let out a battle cry and rushed to meet them head-on. His Chalna's strength allowed him to engage multiple enemies at once, buying time for the others. Zara concentrated, her eyes glowing as she unleashed her psychic abilities. Several of the Void Devourer warriors stumbled, momentarily confused by her mental assault. Justin and Major Steele fought side by side, their energy weapons carving a path through the enemy ranks. The young prince's academy training, combined with the instincts honed during his recent adventures, guided his every move. As they neared the central intelligence, a young Vexillian soldier named Sylvex spotted a threat Justin had missed. Without hesitation, Sylvex threw himself between the prince and an incoming attack. The Void Devourer's energy beam struck the Vexillian full force, vaporizing him instantly. "Sylvex!" Justin cried out, shock and grief washing over him. He channeled his emotions into action, fighting with restored dedication to ensure his comrade's sacrifice was not in vain. With the path finally clear, Justin and Major Steele rushed towards the Central Intelligence. They pulled out the Precursor Energy Pulse device, ready to deploy it. But as Justin examined the device, his heart sank. "It's damaged," he said, his mind racing. "I need to recalibrate it manually." As Justin worked feverishly to adjust the device, the Central Intelligence became aware of their presence. A wave of psychic energy washed over the team, bombarding them with nightmarish visions. Justin gritted his teeth, fighting against the mental assault as he continued his work. Major Steele and the remaining team members formed a protective circle around Justin, holding off the relentless attacks of the Void Devourer warriors. The air was filled with the sound of energy weapons and the inhuman screeches of their enemies. In desperation, Justin reached for the Stellar Codex, still hanging around his neck. As his fingers touched the ancient artifact, he felt a surge of knowledge flooding his mind. Guided by this newfound insight, his hands moved with certainty across the device's controls. "It's ready!" Justin shouted, activating the energy pulse device. A blinding flash erupted from the device, engulfing the Central Intelligence. The chamber filled with an otherworldly screech as the energy pulse disrupted the Void Devourer's hive mind. The bioengineered warriors collapsed, their connection severed. The entire ship shuddered violently, its organic structure beginning to break down. Alarms blared throughout the chamber as systems failed cascaded. "We need to get out of here now," Major Steele shouted over the chaos. The team fought their way back through the deteriorating corridors, carrying their wounded and the body of Sylvex. They reached the airlock just as sections of the ship began to implode behind them. As they boarded their assault shuttle, Justin took one last look at the massive Void Devourer command ship. It was collapsing in on itself, creating a shockwave that rippled through space. Major Steele skillfully piloted the shuttle away from the destruction, weaving through a field of debris and disabled enemy ships. "Look!" Zara called out, pointing through the viewport. Justin's eyes widened as he saw a massive fleet of Imperial warships emerge from hyperspace. Leading the charge was the flagship of Empress Lydia herself. The reinforcements immediately engaged the remaining Void Devourer forces, their advanced weapons tearing through the disorganized enemy fleet. As they approached Nexus Prime, Justin allowed himself a moment of relief. But his reprieve was short-lived. The shuttle's comm system crackled to life with an urgent transmission from the station. "Your Highness," Dr. Laravos's voice came through, tight with concern. "Our precursor systems had detected a massive energy buildup in the remaining Void Devourer ships. They're preparing for some kind of final, desperate attack." Justin's mind raced as he processed this new threat. The battle was just a beginning, and the defenders of Nexus Prime would need every ounce of courage and ingenuity to face what was coming. As the shuttle docked with the station, Justin steeled himself for the challenges ahead, knowing that the fate of the galactic realm still hung in the balance. Balance. Justin took a deep breath, steadying himself as the shuttle docked with Nexus Prime. The battle was just the beginning. As the airlock hissed open, Justin and his team rushed out, their footsteps echoing through the station's corridors. The young prince's mind raced, processing Dr. Voss's urgent transmission about the Void Devourer's impending attack. They burst into the command center, where Admiral Thorne was already coordinating defensive maneuvers. A familiar voice caught Justin's attention. "Justin," Empress Lydia called out, striding towards him with purpose. "We received your distress signal and came as fast as we could." Justin nodded, relief washing over him at the sight of the Imperial reinforcements. "Your timing couldn't be better, Mother, but we have a new problem." He quickly briefed the Empress and Admiral Thorne on the situation. The command center's main display flickered to life, showing a real-time tactical view of the Void Devourer fleet. Energy readings spiked ominously as the enemy ships channeled power into a single, massive weapon. "Our current defenses won't hold against an attack of that magnitude," Admiral Thorne said grimly, his weathered face etched with concern. Justin's hand unconsciously moved to the stellar codex hanging around his neck. The artifact pulsed warmly, and suddenly, an idea crystallized in his mind. "We can use Nexus Prime's precursor technology," Justin said, his voice gaining confidence. "Create an energy absorption field around the station and our fleet, not just to defend, but to redirect their attack back at them." Dr. Voss, who had joined them in the command center, nodded enthusiastically. "It's possible, but we'll need to make significant modifications to the station systems. And quickly." "Do it," Empress Lydia ordered, her regal bearing unshaken by the chaos around them. She turned to Justin, a hint of pride in her eyes. "I'll position our fleet to buy you time." As Dr. Voss and her team began their work, Justin coordinated with Krosthor, who was leading the fighter squadrons. The young Chalnita's voice crackled over the comm, heavy with the weight of recent losses. "My prince, request permission to lead a final strike against the enemy weapon," Krosthor said, his tone resolute. Justin's heart clenched at the thought of losing his former bully-turned-loyal friend. "Negative, Krosthor. I need you coordinating our fighter defense. Your skills are too valuable to waste on a suicide run." There was a moment of silence before Krosthor responded. "Understood, Your Highness. We'll give them hell from here." As the minutes ticked by, tension mounted in the command center. Dr. Voss's team worked feverishly, but a critical issue arose. "We need a specific type of crystal to channel this much energy," Dr. Voss explained, frustration evident in her voice. "Without it, the field will collapse under the strain." Justin's eyes widened as a memory surfaced. The Zephyrians, they brought crystals as part of their original deception. We might be able to use those. Without wasting a moment, Justin sprinted towards the lower levels of the station where evacuation efforts were underway. He found Ambassador Zalvor directing civilians to safety, the Zephyrians' normally haughty demeanor replaced by genuine concern. "Ambassador," Justin called out, slightly out of breath, "the crystals you brought, we need them to defend against the Void Devourer's attack." Zalvor's expression shifted from surprise to persistence. "Of course, Your Highness. Consider our entire supply at your disposal. Perhaps this small act can begin to make amends for our earlier deception." With the Zephyrian crystal secured, Justin raced back to the command center. Dr. Voss and her team worked frantically to integrate the crystals into Nexus Prime's energy absorption system. "Energy levels in the enemy fleet are reaching critical," Admiral Thorne announced, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. Justin stood at the heart of the command center, the stellar codex glowing brightly against his chest. As Dr. Voss activated the modified precursor systems, a shimmering, translucent field materialized around Nexus Prime and the surrounding Allied ships. The command center fell silent as the Void Devourers unleashed their apocalyptic attack. A blinding beam of energy, more powerful than anything Justin had ever witnessed, streaked towards them. The energy absorption field wavered as the beam struck, alarms blaring throughout the station. Justin's hands flew across the control panel, using the knowledge from the stellar codex to make real-time adjustments to the field's composition. Slowly, agonizingly, the field stabilized. The incoming energy not only failed to penetrate their defenses, but began to bend back towards the Void Devourer fleet. "It's working," Dr. Voss exclaimed, her eyes wide with a mix of disbelief and triumph. Justin seized the moment, his voice ringing out clear and strong. "All ships, concentrate fire on the enemy flagship. Target their superweapon." The combined firepower of the Allied fleet, enhanced by the redirected energy from the absorption field, slammed into the Void Devourer's flagship. Explosions blossomed across its hull, culminating in a spectacular detonation that sent shockwaves through space. Cheers erupted in the command center as the enemy fleet fell into disarray. But the celebration was short-lived. An urgent message from the Guardian AI flashed across the main display. Warning. The AI's voice resonated through the command center. Destruction of the Void Devourer flagship has triggered a cascading overload in their fleet's power cores. Projected explosion will result in the destruction of Nexus Prime and surrounding space. The command center fell silent once more as the implications sank in. Justin's mind raced, searching for a solution to this new, potentially catastrophic threat. The young prince steeled himself, knowing that the next few moments would determine the fate of not just Nexus Prime, but the entire sector of the galaxy. Galaxy! Justin's eyes darted between the tactical display and the faces of those around him, his mind racing to find a solution. "We need to contain the explosion," Justin said, his voice steady despite the urgency of the situation. "Dr. Voss, can we modify our energy absorption field to create localized containment bubbles around clusters of Void Devourer ships?" Dr. Voss's fingers flew across her console as she ran calculations. "Theoretically, yes, but we need to get much closer to deploy them effectively." Justin nodded, a plan forming in his mind. "We'll form strike teams. Use shuttles equipped with portable energy redirection devices based on the precursor tech. We can maneuver close enough to deploy the containment bubbles." Admiral Thorne raised an eyebrow. "It's risky, but it might be our only option. Who do you propose for these teams?" "I'll lead one," Justin said, his hand unconsciously touching the stellar codex. "We'll need our best. Major Steele Crosthor." "I volunteer to lead a team as well," a voice interrupted. Justin turned to see Admiral Zorn stepping forward, his posture rigid with drive. The Galactic Council must show its commitment to this alliance. Empress Lydia's eyes narrowed, but she nodded her approval. "Very well. Justin, are you certain about this?" Justin met his mother's gaze, seeing the concern behind her regal demeanor. "I am. The Codex can help us fine-tune our approach. We don't have time for anything else." As the strike teams assembled, Dr. Voss and her team worked feverishly to modify the energy redirection devices. Ambassador Zalvor approached, his usual haughtiness replaced by a look of earnest concentration. "Your Highness," the Zephyrian said, "our crystal technology might enhance the device's power and stability. Please, allow us to assist. It's the least we can do to make amends." Justin nodded, grateful for the unexpected help. "Thank you, Ambassador. Work with Dr. Voss. Every second counts." Within minutes, the strike teams were boarding their modified shuttles. Justin stood at the ramp of his craft, giving last-minute instructions to his team of engineers and technicians. He caught sight of Crosthor, the young Chalnitha's features set in steadfast perseverance. "Crosthor," Justin called out, "be careful out there. I need you to come back in one piece." The Chalnith bared his teeth in what passed for a smile. "You too, my prince. Try not to do anything too heroic without me." As the shuttles launched, the remaining Allied fleet formed a protective screen around them. Justin's hands gripped the controls tightly as he navigated through a treacherous field of debris and disabled Void Devourer ships. Stray energy discharges from the destabilizing vessels lashed out, scoring hits on several shuttles. "Team leaders report status," Justin called over the comm. "Zorn here. Approaching our designated cluster now." "Steele reporting. We've sustained minor damage, but still operational." "Crosthor. We're encountering resistance from surviving Void Devourer warriors. Engaging now." Justin's shuttle reached its target first. He guided his team into position, using the knowledge from the Stellar Codex to optimize their approach. Deploying energy redirection devices. Now! The containment bubble flickered into existence around the cluster of Void Devourer ships. Immediately, it began to absorb the volatile energy from the overloading power cores. Justin watched the readings on his display, adjusting the field strength as needed. "It's working," he breathed. "All teams, proceed with deployment." Across the battlefield, the other strike teams engaged in their own battles against time and the enemy. Krosthor's voice crackled over the comm, punctuated by the sounds of combat. "Heavy resistance here. We need to board to secure the area for deployment." Justin's heart raced as he listened to the sounds of hand-to-hand combat. After what seemed like an eternity, Krosthor's voice returned, weaker but triumphant. "Devices deployed. Area secured, but I'm hit. Don't worry about me, my prince. Focus on the mission." Before Justin could respond, Major Steele's urgent voice cut in. "We have a problem. One of our devices is malfunctioning. I'm going to have to recalibrate manually." "Steele, that's too dangerous." Justin protested. "No choice, Your Highness. We can't risk a localized explosion. I can do this." Justin gritted his teeth, feeling the weight of command as he listened to his people risk their lives. He turned his attention back to his own cluster, fine-tuning the containment field. Suddenly, Nexus Prime's sensors blared a new alert. Justin's eyes widened as he saw a massive Void Devourer ship emerge from a nearby nebula, dwarfing even the destroyed flagship. "All teams, fall back to Nexus Prime immediately," Justin ordered, his mind already racing to confront this new threat. "The containment operation is complete. We have a new problem." As the strike teams raced back to the station, the enormous Void Devourer vessel began charging what appeared to be an even more powerful version of their previous superweapon. Justin's hands tightened on the shuttle's controls, knowing that the next few moments would determine not just the outcome of this battle, but potentially the future of human-alien relations in the galaxy. The young prince's mind whirled with possibilities as he approached Nexus Prime. The stellar codex pulsed against his chest, as if sensing the impending confrontation. Whatever came next, Justin knew he would need every ounce of courage, ingenuity, and alliance unity to face this final, unexpected threat. The young prince's eyes narrowed as he assessed the situation, his mind already formulating a plan. "All strike teams, return to Nexus Prime immediately." Justin's voice rang out over the comm system. "We have a new problem." As the shuttles raced back to the station, Justin quickly convened an emergency meeting in the command center. Empress Lydia, Admiral Thorne, and Dr. Alara Voss gathered around the holographic display, their faces grave as they observed the massive Void Devourer ship. "That vessel dwarfs anything we've encountered so far," Admiral Thorne said, his voice tight with concern. Dr. Voss's fingers flew across her console, analyzing the data streaming in from Nexus Prime's enhanced sensors and the stellar codex. Her eyes widened as she made a discovery. "Your Highness, I've identified a potential weakness," she said, zooming in on a specific section of the enemy ship. "Their superweapon draws power directly from the Central Intelligence Core. During the charging process, it creates a vulnerable point." Justin leaned forward, studying the holographic image intently. "Can we exploit that weakness?" Dr. Voss nodded. "Yes, but it would require a massive amount of focused energy. We'd need to use Nexus Prime's upgraded precursor technology to create a beam capable of penetrating their defenses and disrupting the charging sequence." "What's the catch?" Empress Lydia asked, her eyes never leaving the display. Dr. Voss hesitated before responding. "To generate enough power, we need to divert energy from life support systems and artificial gravity throughout most of the station." A heavy silence fell over the group as they considered the implications. Justin straightened, his decision made. "We don't have a choice. Prepare the weapon," he ordered. Turning to Admiral Thorne, he added, Position our remaining fleet in a defensive formation around Nexus Prime. We'll need every second of protection we can get. As the command center erupted into action, Ambassador Zalvor approached Justin. Your Highness, we have Zephyrian energy-focusing crystals that could enhance your weapon's power. Please, allow us to assist. Justin nodded gratefully. Thank you, Ambassador. Work with Dr. Voss to integrate them into our systems. As preparations for the counterattack began, an urgent message came through from Major Steele. Your Highness, we've discovered alien prisoners aboard one of the disabled Void Devourer ships. They're being used for experimentation and as a living energy source. Justin's eyebrows furrowed at the news. Dispatch rescue teams immediately. Krosthor, I know you're injured, but I need you to lead this operation. Your combat skills will be crucial. Understood, my prince. Krosthor's voice crackled over the comm. We'll get them out. Throughout Nexus Prime, non-essential personnel were evacuated to the station's core. As artificial gravity was disabled in most sections, objects and people began to float freely, adding to the challenge of the frantic preparations. In the modified weapon control room, Dr. Voss and her team worked to integrate the Zephyrian crystals. The air crackled with energy as the precursor technology hummed to life, creating visible distortions in the space around Nexus Prime. Justin floated in the zero-gravity environment of the command center, watching as the massive Void Devourer ship moved into firing position. Its superweapon began to glow with an ominous light, casting an eerie shadow over Nexus Prime. Energy buildup detected in the enemy vessel, Admiral Thorne reported. They're preparing to fire. Justin took a deep breath, his hand unconsciously touching the stellar codex. Initiate our attack. Now! Nexus Prime surged with power as every available joule of energy was channeled into its experimental weapon. A brilliant beam of concentrated energy erupted from the station, cutting through space towards a Void Devourer ship. The enemy vessel attempted to evade, but the beam's intensity and speed proved too great. It struck precisely at the vulnerable point, causing cascading explosions along the ship's hull. The superweapon's charging sequence was disrupted, sending feedback loops through its systems. As the Void Devourer's ship reeled from the attack, Justin received confirmation from Krosthor. Prisoner secured, Your Highness. We're heading back now. Excellent work, Justin replied. Turning to Admiral Thorne, he ordered, launch a coordinated assault on the damaged enemy vessel. Press our advantage. The Allied fleet moved in, their weapons blazing against the wounded Void Devourer ship. Victory seemed within reach when suddenly, Nexus Prime's sensors blared a new warning. Energy spike detected in the enemy ship. Dr. Voss called out, her voice filled with urgency. They're initiating a self-destruct sequence. The resulting explosion will be catastrophic. Justin's mind raced as he assessed the situation. The Void Devourer ship's final act of destruction threatened not only Nexus Prime, but countless lives in nearby star systems. With time running out, he knew his next decision would determine the fate of millions. Dr. Voss, can we use our energy absorption field to contain the explosion? Justin asked, his eyes scanning the tactical display for options. Possibly, but we'd need to get much closer, Dr. Voss replied, her fingers flying across her console. And even then, I'm not sure our field could withstand that level of energy. Justin's gaze fell on the stellar codex, its soft glow seeming to pulse with urgency. An idea began to form in his mind, one that was risky but might be their only chance. What if we combined the absorption field with the codex's power? He asked. Could that give us the strength we need? Dr. Voss's eyes widened at the suggestion. Theoretically, yes, but it's never been attempted. The strain on the user could be significant. Justin nodded, his decision made. Prepare a shuttle. I'm going out there myself. Justin, no, Empress Lydia protested, her regal composure slipping for a moment. It's too dangerous. Mother, we don't have a choice, Justin replied, his voice firm but gentle. I'm the only one who can use the codex effectively. If we don't try this, millions will die. As the command center erupted into frantic activity, Justin made his way to the shuttle bay. The fate of Nexus Prime, the Allied fleet, and countless innocent lives now rested on his shoulders and the power of the ancient stellar codex. Without hesitation, Justin activated his comms. Dr. Voss, prepare the shuttle. I'm going out there. As Justin made his way to the shuttle bay, the station shuddered under the strain of maintaining its energy output. He passed through corridors filled with floating debris and crew members securing themselves to railings. The artificial gravity had been disabled in most sections, leaving an eerie weightlessness that only added to the tension. Your Highness, Major Steele's voice crackled over the comms. I request permission to join you on this mission. Granted, Justin replied, relieved to have the experienced soldier by his side. Meet me at the shuttle bay. As they prepped the shuttle, Dr. Voss's team rushed to outfit it with additional shielding and energy redirection devices. Justin clutched the stellar codex, feeling its power pulse in sync with his racing heartbeat. Ready for launch, the shuttle pilot announced. Justin took a deep breath. Let's go. The shuttle rocketed out of Nexus Prime, immediately buffeted by waves of energy emanating from the destabilizing Void Devourer ship. Through the view screen, Justin watched as the massive vessel's hull began to crack and splinter, releasing arcs of destructive energy into space. Sir, the pilot called out, I'm detecting a potential breach point on the enemy ship's port side. Justin nodded. Take us in. As they approached, the shuttle sensors blared warnings. The Void Devourer ship's self-destruct sequence was accelerating faster than anticipated. We need to move quickly, Justin said, turning to Major Steele. Once we're inside, we'll split into two teams. You and I will retrieve the data core. The Zephyrian engineers will work on stabilizing the ship systems to buy us more time. The shuttle docked with a screech of metal on metal. As the airlock cycled, Justin activated the stellar codex, its golden glow illuminating the darkened corridor before them. Stay close, he ordered as they entered the Void Devourer ship. The interior was chaos. Alarms blared, lights flickered, and the very structure of the ship groaned under immense stress. Using the codex as a guide, Justin led the team through a maze of twisting corridors, each step bringing them closer to their objective. Suddenly, a group of Void Devourer warriors rounded a corner, their weapons raised. Major Steele reacted instantly, pushing Justin behind a jutting piece of machinery as energy blasts scorched the air around them. Cover me, Steele shouted, rolling out from their shelter and returning fire. Justin focused on the stellar codex, willing it to reveal a solution. In response, it projected a holographic overlay of the ship systems. Justin's eyes widened as he spotted a weakness. Major, target the panel to your left, he called out. Steele's precise shot caused the panel to explode, releasing a cloud of superheated steam that engulfed the Void Devourer warriors. Their agonized screeches echoed through the corridor as the team pressed forward. After what felt like hours, but was merely minutes, they reached the chamber housing the data core. The Zephyrian engineers immediately set to work, their fingers flying over alien controls as they attempted to stabilize the ship's rapidly deteriorating systems. Justin approached the data core, a pulsing crystalline structure that towered over him. He raised the stellar codex, its energy intertwining with that of the core. Information flooded his mind. Glimpses of Void Devourer history, their terrifying capabilities and potential weaknesses. It's done, Justin announced, carefully disconnecting the core. Let's move. As they turned to leave, a massive tremor shook the ship. The Zephyrian engineers exchanged worried glances. Your Highness, one of them said, we've done all we can, but the ship's collapse is imminent. We need to evacuate immediately. They raced back through the crumbling corridors, dodging falling debris and erupting energy conduits. Justin cradled the data core in one arm, using the stellar codex to guide their path with the other. Just as they reached the airlock, a final group of Void Devourer warriors ambushed them. Major Steel engaged them in close combat, his cybernetic enhancements giving him an edge in the chaotic environment. "Go!" Steel shouted to Justin. "Get the core out of here." Justin hesitated for a split second before making a decision. He handed the data core to one of the Zephyrian engineers. "Take this and get to the shuttle. Start the launch sequence." Before anyone could protest, Justin turned back to aid Major Steel. Using the stellar codex, he manipulated the ship's failing systems, causing a nearby bulkhead to collapse on the remaining Void Devourers. "Let's go, Major," Justin said, supporting the injured soldier as they made their way to the shuttle. As they disengaged from the dying Void Devourer ship, Justin opened a channel to Nexus Prime. "Dr. Voss, we have the data core. Initiate the containment field now." Through the shuttle's view screen, Justin watched as a massive bubble of energy began to form around the enemy vessel. The Allied fleet added their power to the field, creating a multi-layered barrier that glowed with an otherworldly light. The shuttle raced towards Nexus Prime, pushing its engines to the limit. Behind them, the Void Devourer ship's self-destruct sequence reached its climax. A blinding flash erupted within the containment field, the force of the explosion testing the very limits of their combined technology. As they approached Nexus Prime, Justin's mind raced with the implications of what they had discovered. The data core held secrets that could change the course of the war, but first, they had to survive the next few moments. The shuttle bay doors opened before them, a welcome sight amidst the chaos. As they made their final approach, Justin gripped the stellar codex tightly, knowing that their ordeal was far from finished. The real challenge, understanding and using the information they had gained, was just beginning. The real challenge, understanding and using the information they had gained, was just the start of a new chapter in their struggle against the Void Devourers. As the shuttle hurtled towards Nexus Prime, Justin's relief at their narrow escape was short-lived. The massive containment field generated by the station and the Allied fleet began to flicker and warp, straining under the immense pressure of the impending explosion. "Major Steel, status report," Justin called out, gripping his seat as the shuttle shuddered violently. Steele's hands flew over the controls, his cybernetic eye rapidly processing data. "Not good, Your Highness. The field's destabilizing faster than anticipated. We're picking up massive energy surges." Justin leaned forward, watching through the view screen as arcs of energy lashed out from the containment bubble. The shuttle weaved through a treacherous maze of debris and energy discharges, each near miss causing alarms to blare throughout the cockpit. Suddenly, a stray bolt of energy struck the shuttle's port side. The impact sent Justin and the others lurching in their seats as warning lights flashed across every console. "We've lost structural integrity on decks 2 and 3, Steele reported, his voice tense but controlled. "Main thrusters are offline. Switching to auxiliary power." Justin's mind raced, assessing their options. "Can we make it to the main hangar?" Steele shook his head. "Negative. We'll have to aim for one of the auxiliary bays. It'll be close." As they approached Nexus Prime, Justin could see the strain on the station systems. Energy discharges crackled along its hull, and several sections were clearly operating on emergency power. "All hands, brace for impact," Steele announced as he maneuvered the damaged shuttle towards a small hangar bay on the station's lower levels. "This landing's going to be rough." The shuttle scraped against the hangar's energy field, sending sparks flying. It skidded across the deck, coming to a screeching halt just short of the far wall. Without hesitation, Justin unstrapped himself and moved to the hatch. "Everyone out! We need to get this data core to Dr. Voss immediately." As they rushed through Nexus Prime's corridors, Justin could feel the station shuddering beneath his feet. Emergency klaxons blared, and crew members hurried past, securing systems and preparing for potential evacuation. They burst into the research lab, where Dr. Alara Voss and her team were working feverishly at their stations. Justin handed over the Void Devourer data core, his breath coming in short gasps. "Dr. Voss, we need answers fast. The containment field won't hold much longer." Alara nodded, her eyes sharp with focus as she connected the alien device to their systems. "We're on it, Your Highness. Give us a few minutes to decrypt and analyze the data." Justin's comm crackled to life with Admiral Thorne's urgent voice. "Prince Justin, we have a critical situation. Several ships in the Allied fleet are showing signs of severe stress. We can't maintain this energy redirection field much longer without risking their destruction." Before Justin could respond, another voice cut in his mother, Empress Lydia. "This is Empress Lydia to all personnel. Initiate emergency protocols. All non-essential staff, evacuate to intersections immediately. Nearby star systems, prepare for potential evacuation procedures." Justin clenched his fists, feeling the weight of countless lives resting on their next moves. He turned to Dr. Voss, who was hunched over her console, fingers flying across holographic interfaces. "Doctor, please tell me you found something." Alara's head snapped up, her eyes wide with excitement. "Your Highness, I think we've got it. The Void Devourer's technology. It's based on a unique form of energy absorption and redirection. It's similar to principles we use in our own systems, but on a much grander scale." Justin's mind whirled with possibilities. He glanced at the stellar codex, still pulsing with energy, and suddenly an idea clicked into place. What if we use their own technology against them? He asked, moving to a nearby console. If we modify our energy projection systems to emit a signal that triggers their absorption mechanisms, we could cause the ship to implode rather than explode outward. Alara finished, already typing furiously. "It's risky, but it might work. We'll need to integrate components from the rescued prisoners' tech, combine it with our precursor systems and the Zephyrian crystals." Justin nodded, his decision made. "Do it. I'll inform Admiral Thorne to pull back the fleet to a safe distance." As Alara and her team worked to modify Nexus Prime systems, Justin coordinated with the Allied forces. Minutes ticked by with excruciating slowness, each moment bringing them closer to potential catastrophe. Finally, Alara called out, "We're ready, Your Highness." Justin took a deep breath, his hand hovering over the activation sequence. Initiating now. Nexus Prime hummed with power as it emitted a precisely calibrated energy signal towards the contained Void Devourer ship. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the enemy vessel's hull began to warp and contract, its massive form collapsing inward. "It's working," Alara exclaimed, her eyes fixed on the readouts. The ship's energy is being redirected and contained within itself. But their elation was short-lived. A massive shockwave erupted from the imploding ship, threatening to overwhelm Nexus Prime's defenses. Alarms blared as systems throughout the station began to overload. Justin rushed to the main control panel, his hands moving with a surety he didn't know he possessed. Drawing on his growing expertise with precursor technology, he manually adjusted the station's shield harmonics, compensating for the incoming energy surge. As the Void Devourer's ship continued its implosion, a brilliant flash of light filled the view screens, temporarily blinding everyone in the command center. When the glare faded, they saw only a dense, compressed mass of matter and energy where the enemy vessel had once been. A collective sigh of relief swept through the room, but Justin knew their work was just the beginning. He began issuing orders for damage assessment and rescue operations, his mind already racing ahead to the challenges that lay before them. Suddenly, the data core they had retrieved sprang to life, projecting a holographic message that filled the command center. As the image of a void devourer materialized before them, Justin realized that this victory was just the beginning of a much larger, more complex story, one that would reshape their understanding of the universe and their place within it. The holographic message flickered and stabilized, revealing a void devourer's alien visage. Its multiple eyes blinked in rapid succession as it began to speak in a guttural, translated voice. To those who have accessed this data core, heed our warning. We are the last remnants of a dying universe, seeking refuge in your realm. Our methods may seem ruthless, but they are born of desperation. The technology you now possess is both a gift and a curse. Use it wisely, for it holds the power to save or destroy entire civilizations. The message cut off abruptly, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Justin's mind raced with the implications of this revelation. He turned to address the assembled leaders, his voice steady and determined. We've won a significant battle, but our work is not nearly finished. Admiral Thorne, initiate damage assessment and begin rescue operations immediately. Dr. Voss, I need a full analysis of that data core as soon as possible. As the command center burst into action, Justin coordinated the post-battle efforts. He dispatched repair teams to critical areas of Nexus Prime and organized medical units to treat injured personnel from various species. The young prince moved with purpose, his recent experiences having honed his leadership skills. Hours passed as Justin oversaw the recovery operations. He worked tirelessly, ensuring that every Allied ship received necessary assistance and that all personnel were accounted for. As the immediate crisis subsided, he called for a meeting of key leaders in Nexus Prime's newly repaired command center. Empress Lydia, Admiral Thorne, Admiral Zorn, and representatives from the Allied alien races gathered around a large holographic display. Justin stood at the head of the table, his posture straight and confident. "Thank you all for coming," he began. "We've achieved a crucial victory, but we've also uncovered information that could change everything we thought we knew about the Void Devourers and our place in the universe." Dr. Ilera Voss stepped forward, her eyes bright with excitement and trepidation. "Your Highness, distinguished leaders, our initial analysis of the Void Devourer data core has yielded startling results. The Void Devourers are indeed refugees from a dying universe, as their message indicated. Their technology, while incredibly advanced, is highly unstable and poses a significant threat to all life forms in its path." A murmur of concern rippled through the assembled leaders. Admiral Zorn, his scaled skin shimmering under the command center's lights, spoke up. "This information changes the nature of our conflict. We're not just fighting an invasion, but dealing with a desperate species seeking survival." Justin nodded, acknowledging the complexity of their situation. "You're right, Admiral, which is why I propose we form a Galactic Defense Coalition. This organization would combine the strengths of all our species: human ingenuity, Zephyrian energy manipulation, Chalneth combat prowess, and precursor technology. Together, we can protect our galaxy from external threats while fostering cooperation and understanding among our peoples." Empress Lydia's eyes shone with pride as she supported her son's proposal. "The Terran Empire fully endorses this initiative. It's time we move beyond our individual interests and work towards the greater good of all sentient beings in our galaxy." As discussions about the coalition's structure and objectives continued, Justin's comlink chimed urgently. He excused himself and stepped aside to answer it. "Your Highness," Major Steele's gruff voice came through, "we've detected a hidden Void Devourer outpost on a nearby moon. It appears to be dormant, but our scans indicate it contains valuable technology and information. This could be crucial for understanding and countering any future threats." Justin's pulse quickened at the news. He quickly informed the assembled leaders and proposed an immediate joint expedition, to investigate the outpost. "I'll lead the mission myself," he announced. "My experience with precursor technology and the Stellar Codex could prove invaluable." As the leaders debated the logistics of the mission, Justin began assembling his team. He selected a diverse group, including the Chalnoth warrior Krosthor, the Zephyrian engineer Zara, and specialists from various allied species. Each member was chosen for their unique skills and expertise. Before departing, Justin sought out his mother for a private word. They stood in a quiet corner of the command center, their voices low. "Mother, I want to thank you for your support and guidance," Justin said, his eyes meeting hers. "Everything I've experienced, it's helped me grow in ways I never imagined." Empress Lydia placed a hand on her son's shoulder, her touch both gentle and firm. "You've exceeded all expectations, Justin. I'm entrusting you with greater responsibilities in shaping the future of human-alien relations. Lead with wisdom and compassion." With a final nod to his mother, Justin joined his team aboard a specially equipped vessel. The ship hummed with power, its systems enhanced by precursor technology to improve stealth and defensive capabilities. As they departed Nexus Prime, Justin felt the weight of his responsibilities, but also the excitement of the unknown challenges ahead. The vessel approached the moon where the hidden outpost lay, its sensors scanning for any signs of activity. Justin studied the readings, his brow furrowed in concentration. "These energy signatures are unlike anything we've encountered before," he muttered, manipulating the Stellar Codex to analyze the data. As they prepared for landing, Justin addressed his team. "We don't know what we'll find down there, but remember, we're not just representing our own species anymore. We're the vanguard of a new era of cooperation. Let's make it count." The ship touched down on the moon's surface, kicking up a cloud of silvery dust. As the team disembarked, they were immediately confronted by an automated defense system guarding the outpost. Energy beams crisscrossed the landscape, creating a deadly barrier between them and their objective. Justin's mind raced, assessing the situation. He turned to Zara, the Zephyrian engineer. "Can you use your energy manipulation abilities to create a temporary gap in the defense grid?" Zara nodded, her crystalline form glowing softly as she focused her powers. "I can, Your Highness, but it won't last long. We'll need to move quickly." Justin coordinated the team's efforts, combining Zara's energy manipulation, Krosthor's combat skills, and the specialized knowledge of the other team members. With precise timing and execution, they managed to bypass the defense system, showcasing the potential of their newly formed alliance. As they entered the outpost, Justin felt a sense of anticipation. The secrets hidden within could reshape their understanding of the universe and potentially change the course of galactic history. With the Stellar Codex in hand and his diverse team at his side, he stepped forward into the unknown depths of the Void Devourer facility, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they ventured deeper into the Void Devourer facility, Justin's senses were on high alert. The air grew thick with an otherworldly energy, causing the hairs on the back of his neck to stand on end. The team moved cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. Suddenly, they came upon a massive door, its surface etched with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and change as they watched. Justin stepped forward, the Stellar Codex humming in his hand. "This is it," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "The secure chamber we've been looking for." Krosthor moved to Justin's side, his muscles tense for action. "How do we get in, Your Highness?" Justin's eyes darted across the complex locking mechanism, his mind racing. "We'll need to combine our skills," he said. "Zara, can you sense the energy flow within the lock?" The Zephyrian engineer closed her eyes, her form glowing softly. "Yes, I can feel it. It's intricate, like nothing I've ever encountered before." Justin nodded, his fingers dancing across the Stellar Codex's interface. I'll use the codex to interface with the lock. Thor, be ready to apply force if needed. Everyone else, stay alert. For several tense minutes, Justin worked in tandem with Zara, their efforts guided by the Stellar Codex's analysis. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he navigated the alien system's complexities. Finally, with a satisfying click, the massive door began to slide open. The team stepped into a vast chamber filled with an array of advanced technology. Sleek consoles lined the walls, pulsing with an inner light. But it was a device at the center of the room that caught Justin's attention. It stood taller than a man, its surface a swirling mass of energy containment fields. Dr. Voss, Justin called into his communicator. Are you seeing this? Ilara's voice crackled through the link, filled with excitement. Incredible, that device. It appears to be a more refined version of the Void Devourer's energy absorption technology. If we can understand how it works, we might be able to safely extract and store the energy from the compressed mass left by the imploded ship. As Justin approached the device, his mind racing with possibilities, a sudden tremor shook the facility. Warning lights flashed, and an alien voice blared through hidden speakers. Alert! Unauthorized access detected. Facility self-destruct sequence initiated. Time to detonation, 15 minutes. Justin's heart raced as he quickly assessed the situation. Everyone listen up, he shouted over the blaring alarms. We need to secure that energy extraction device and any data crystals with crucial information. Thor, lead a team to retrieve the tech. Zara, maintain a psychic link between us all. I'll work on disabling the self-destruct sequence. As his team sprang into action, Justin rushed to the nearest console, his fingers flying over the alien interface. The Stellar Codex glowed brightly as it helped him navigate the complex systems. Sweat dripped down his face as he raced against time, the countdown echoing in his ears. Across the room, Thor's powerful form moved with surprising grace as he carefully disconnected the energy extraction device. Your Highness, the Challenger warrior called out, we've secured the primary objective. Moving on to the data crystals now. Justin acknowledged with a nod, his focus never leaving the console. With each passing second, he delved deeper into the facility's core systems, searching for the key to halting the self-destruct sequence. 5 minutes to detonation, the alien voice announced, its tone unervingly calm. Zara's psychic voice echoed in Justin's mind. The team is almost done, Your Highness. But the facility's structural integrity is failing. We need to leave soon. Justin gritted his teeth, pushing himself to the limit. The Stellar Codex pulsed with energy as it interfaced with the alien technology, guiding Justin's actions. With a final, desperate command, he bypassed the last firewall. Self-destruct sequence deactivated. The alien voice declared. A collective sigh of relief filled the chamber, but it was short-lived. A massive power surge ripped through the facility's systems, overloading circuits and causing equipment to spark and smoke. Something's wrong, Justin called out, his eyes widening as he read the new data streaming across his screen. The surge. It's affecting the stasis pods. The Void Devourer specimens are waking up. As if on cue, inhuman shrieks echoed through the facility, sending chills down everyone's spine. Justin's mind raced, formulating a plan even as he gave orders. Thor, get the team and the salvage tech back to the ship now. Zara, you're with me. We need to contain this threat. As the rest of the team evacuated, Justin and Zara raced through the facility's corridors, following the Stellar Codex's guidance to the main control hub. They passed by shattered stasis pods, the sight of empty containers filling them with dread. Reaching the control room, Justin immediately accessed the containment protocols. His fingers flew across the alien interface, activating emergency force fields throughout the facility. Zara stood beside him, her crystalline form glowing intensely as she extended her psychic senses to track the Void Devourer's movements. "They're strong, Your Highness," Zara reported, her voice strained. "The force fields are slowing them down, but they're using their energy manipulation abilities to break through." Justin nodded grimly, his mind already formulating a new plan. "We need to buy more time. The energy extraction device. If we can modify it, we might be able to drain their power, keep them subdued until help arrives." As if in response to his thoughts, Justin's communicator crackled to life. Admiral Thorne's voice came through, tinged with urgency. "Your Highness, we've dispatched a joint human-alien task force to your location. Iteon Hauer, what's your situation?" Justin quickly briefed the Admiral on their predicament, his eyes never leaving the facility's security feeds. The Void Devourers were growing stronger by the minute, their alien forms distorting as they absorbed energy from their surroundings. "We'll hold them off, Admiral," Justin said, his voice filled with willpower. "Just get here as fast as you can." Turning to Zara, Justin outlined his plan to use the energy extraction device. The Zephyrian's eyes widened at the audacity of the idea, but she nodded in agreement. Together, they raced back to the secure chamber, the sounds of the Void Devourer's approach growing ever closer. With guidance from Dr. Voss over the comm link, Justin and Zara worked feverishly to modify the energy extraction device. The young prince's hands moved with surprising skill, his recent experiences with alien technology serving him well. Zara's innate understanding of energy manipulation proved invaluable as they recalibrated the device's systems. As the last Void Devourer broke through a nearby force field, Justin activated the modified device. Streams of energy began to flow from the aliens, visibly weakening them. But the process was far from stable. The device shuddered and sparked, threatening to overload at any moment. Justin rushed to the main control panel, manually adjusting settings to maintain stability. Warning lights flashed across the display, indicating dangerous levels of energy discharge. Despite the risk, Justin held his ground, his body absorbing alarming amounts of residual energy. Zara noticed Justin's deteriorating condition, his skin taking on an unnatural pallor. Using her psychic abilities, she projected a partial energy shield around him, but it was clear that the young prince was pushing himself to the absolute limit. As the minutes ticked by, Justin's vision began to blur, his limbs growing heavy. But he refused to let go, knowing that the fate of not just his team, but potentially entire star systems hung in the balance. Just as Justin felt his strength failing, the sound of multiple ships landing outside the facility reached his ears. The task force had arrived. Heavily armed troops poured into the chamber, quickly securing the weakened Void Devourers. Medical teams rushed to Justin's side, their expressions grim as they assessed his condition. Despite his exhaustion and the obvious pain he was in, Justin insisted on overseeing the containment of the Void Devourer specimens. As he watched the aliens being carefully transferred to secure containers, his mind raced with the implications of what they had discovered. "We need to study them," Justin said, his voice weak but resolute. "Not just as a threat, but as a potential key to understanding the nature of our universe. There's so much we could learn." As the medical team prepared to evacuate him, Justin's gaze swept across the chamber, taking in the advanced technology they had salvaged and the contained Void Devourers. He knew that the events of this day would have far-reaching consequences, reshaping the future of human-alien relations and perhaps the very fabric of galactic society. With a final nod to Zara and Krosthor, Justin allowed himself to be led to a waiting medical transport. As the ship lifted off, carrying him back to Nexus Prime, the young prince's mind was already racing with plans and possibilities. The challenge they had faced in the Void Devourer outpost was over, but Justin knew that it was just the beginning of a much larger, more complex journey that lay ahead that would shape the future of human-alien relations and the galaxy itself. In the days that followed, Justin's actions at the Void Devourer outpost became the subject of intense discussion throughout the galactic community. As he lay recovering in Nexus Prime's medical bay, reports of his bravery and leadership spread like wildfire, reaching even the most distant corners of known space. The young prince's reputation grew exponentially, transforming him from a once bullied human child into a respected figure in interstellar politics. His medical room became a revolving door of visitors, each eager to pay their respects to the human who had faced down one of the galaxy's most terrifying threats. One afternoon, as Justin was reviewing data on a holographic display above his bed, a familiar figure ducked through the doorway. Krosthor, the Chalnith warrior, stepped into the room, his massive frame seeming almost too large for the sterile medical environment. "Your Highness," Krosthor rumbled, his voice uncharacteristically hesitant. "I hope I'm not disturbing your recovery." Justin deactivated the holographic display and turned to face his former bully, now comrade in arms. "Not at all, Krosthor. Please come in." The Chalnith warrior approached Justin's bedside, his clawed hands cradling something wrapped in a shimmering cloth. With a solemn gesture, he presented the object to Justin. "I bring you this, a token of my respect and admiration," Krosthor said, carefully unwrapping the cloth to reveal an intricately carved piece of metal. "This is a Chalnith battle token, an honor rarely bestowed upon non-Chalniths. You have proven yourself a true warrior and leader, Your Highness." Justin's eyes widened as he accepted the token, feeling its weight in his hands. The significance of the gesture was not lost on him. "Thank you, Krosthor. I'm truly honored." As Justin examined the battle token, Dr. Alara Voss entered the room, her eyes bright with excitement. "Your Highness, I have incredible news," she announced, barely containing her enthusiasm. "We've successfully adapted the energy extraction device from the Void Devourer outpost. Our prototype can now safely harness power from the compressed mass left by the imploded ship. This breakthrough could revolutionize energy production across multiple civilizations." The implications of Dr. Voss's announcement were staggering. Justin's mind raced with possibilities, already considering the potential impact on galactic politics and economics. "That's amazing work, Dr. Voss. We need to proceed carefully with this technology. Its potential for both good and conflict is immense." Over the next few days, as Justin continued his recovery, news of the energy breakthrough spread rapidly. Various alien races began petitioning for access to the new energy source, each recognizing its potential to transform their societies. Seeing the possibility for conflict on the horizon, Justin called a meeting with his mother, Empress Lydia, and key advisors. In the palace's secure conference room, he outlined his proposal for a Galactic Energy Distribution Council. "We have an opportunity here," Justin explained, gesturing to a holographic display of the galaxy. "By creating a council to oversee the fair allocation of this new energy technology, we can ensure that all member races benefit equally. It's a chance to foster cooperation on an unprecedented scale." Empress Lydia nodded, her eyes gleaming with pride and calculation. "An excellent proposal, Justin. This could significantly strengthen human influence in galactic affairs." She turned to her chief diplomat. "Prepare envoys to be dispatched to key alien worlds. We'll invite them to participate in forming this energy council." As the room buzzed with activity, Justin continued, "We should also consider hosting a grand summit on Earth. Bring representatives from all major spacefaring civilizations together to discuss the future of galactic energy policy." The Empress smiled, already seeing the potential. "Agreed. We'll make the announcement immediately. In the meantime, work with Admiral Thorne and Admiral Zorn to develop a comprehensive security plan. We can't afford any disruptions to these proceedings." In the weeks that followed, Earth became a hive of activity. Justin, now fully recovered, threw himself into preparations for the summit. He worked closely with the admirals, implementing advanced precursor-based defense systems around Earth and key human colonies. As the day of the summit arrived, delegates from across the galaxy began to descend on Earth. Justin took on the role of chief liaison, personally greeting representatives from each arriving delegation. His ability to connect with different species, honed during his time at the Galactic Preparatory Academy and recent experiences, proved invaluable in fostering a spirit of cooperation. The summit opened with a grand ceremony in the newly constructed Galactic Unity Hall. Justin stood at the podium, facing an audience that represented the diversity of the known universe. Taking a deep breath, he began his address, outlining his vision for the Galactic Energy Distribution Council. "Distinguished delegates," Justin began, his voice clear and confident. "We stand at a crossroads in galactic history. The power we now possess has the potential to uplift all our civilizations or tear us apart. I propose a structure that balances the needs of energy-rich and energy-poor worlds, with safeguards to prevent monopolization." As Justin continued his speech, detailing joint research initiatives and collaborative efforts, he could see nods of approval from many delegates. However, not everyone was convinced. A group of human politicians, led by Senator Marcus Graves, listened with barely concealed skepticism. When the floor opened for discussion, Senator Graves was quick to voice his opposition. "Prince Justin's proposal is naive at best, dangerous at worst," he argued. "Humanity should retain exclusive control over this technology. We cannot trust alien races with such power." Justin stepped forward to address the senator's concerns, his voice calm but firm. "Senator, I understand your reservations. But consider this. By sharing this technology, we position humanity as a leader in galactic cooperation. The benefits of shared resources and combined research far outweigh any short-term advantages of isolation." As Justin and Senator Graves debated, the assembled delegates watched with rapt attention. The future of galactic energy policy hung in the balance, and, as the debate between Justin and Senator Graves reached its crescendo, an urgent message flashed across Justin's personal communicator. Admiral Thorne's face appeared, his expression grave. "Your Highness, we've detected a significant energy surge in a distant sector. Intelligence suggests it may be related to Void Devourer activity. We need your immediate attention." Justin's eyes widened, recognizing the gravity of the situation. He turned to address the assembled delegates. "Esteemed representatives, I must temporarily adjourn this session to address an urgent matter of galactic security. Please continue your discussions in my absence. We will reconvene shortly." With a nod to his mother, Justin swiftly exited the Galactic Unity Hall, his mind already shifting gears from diplomacy to strategy. He made his way to the nearby command center, where Admiral Thorne and a team of analysts awaited him. "What do we know?" Justin asked, his voice crisp and focused. Admiral Thorne gestured to a holographic display of the galaxy. "The energy surge was detected here, near the galactic rim. Our latest intelligence suggests it's the work of a Void Devourer splinter group." Justin studied the map, his mind racing. "We can't ignore this threat. Prepare the Rapid Response Task Force for immediate deployment." As the command center burst into action, Justin began assembling his team. He summoned Krasthor Zara and a select group of specialists from various alien races. Within hours, the task force was ready to depart. Standing on the bridge of the flagship, Justin watched as Earth grew smaller in the view screen. The young prince felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders, knowing that the success of this mission could have far-reaching consequences for galactic security. During the journey to the target system, Justin worked tirelessly with his team. He integrated Chalnoth combat tactics with Zephyrian energy manipulation techniques, creating innovative strategies to counter potential Void Devourer threats. The prince also oversaw the installation of new energy extraction devices on their ships, enhancing both offensive and defensive capabilities. As they approached their destination, Justin gathered his team for a final briefing. Remember, we're dealing with a dangerous and unpredictable enemy. Stay alert and trust in your training and each other. The task force dropped out of faster-than-light travel, and the target star system filled their view screens. Justin's eyes narrowed as he spotted an anomaly among the stars. "There," he said, pointing to a barely visible structure. "Magnify that sector." The image zoomed in, revealing an abandoned space station of unfamiliar design. Scans quickly picked up traces of Void Devourer energy signatures. Justin turned to his team. "We need to investigate. Prepare a boarding party. I'll lead the team myself." Krosthor stepped forward, his massive frame towering over the others. "Your Highness, I strongly advise against you personally joining the boarding party. The risk is too great." Justin met the Chalnata's gaze steadily. "I appreciate your concern, Krosthor, but I won't ask anyone to take risks I'm not willing to face myself. Besides, my experience with the Stellar Codex might prove crucial." Reluctantly, Krosthor nodded, and the boarding party assembled. Justin, Krosthor, Zara, and a diverse group of specialists boarded a shuttle and made their way to the mysterious station. As they docked and entered the abandoned structure, Justin felt a chill run down his spine. The air was stale, and strange shadows seemed to dance at the edge of their flashlight beams. "Stay close," Justin whispered, activating the Stellar Codex. Its soft glow illuminated the corridor ahead. They moved deeper into the station, encountering remnants of Void Devourer technology integrated with unfamiliar alien systems. Justin used the Stellar Codex to interface with the station's computer, his fingers dancing across holographic displays as he decrypted layers of security. "I've found something," he announced, his voice tight with concern. "These logs." They indicate the station was used by a coalition of alien races. They were experimenting with Void Devourer technology. Zara's eyes widened. That's incredibly dangerous knowledge to be spreading through the galaxy. Justin nodded grimly. "Agreed. We need to contain this information and prevent it from falling into the wrong hands." As they continued their exploration, the team discovered a secured laboratory. Inside, they found prototype weapons based on Void Devourer energy absorption principles. "These must not leave the station," Justin declared. "We'll secure them for transport back to Nexus Prime for study and containment." As the team began carefully packing the prototypes, a sudden tremor shook the station. Warning lights flashed, and a high-pitched whine filled the air. "We've triggered some kind of security system," Zara shouted over the noise. Justin's mind raced. He could feel the station powering up around them, defense mechanisms activating. A new alarm sounded, and his blood ran cold as he realized its meaning. "It's sending out a distress signal," he said, his voice tight with urgency. "We need to leave now and disable that signal before it attracts attention." The young prince coordinated a rapid evacuation of the boarding party, while simultaneously working to access the station's communication array. Using his knowledge of precursor technology and the Stellar Codex, Justin's fingers flew across alien interfaces. "I've managed to scramble the signal," he announced as they raced back to their shuttle. "But a partial transmission escaped. We're not out of danger yet." Once safely aboard their flagship, Justin gave the order to destroy the space station. The combined firepower of the task force reduced the structure to debris, eliminating the immediate threat. But as the last fragments of the station disappeared from their sensors, a new challenge emerged. "Multiple ships detected," reported the sensor officer. "Energy signatures match known Void Devourer profiles. They're converging on our position from different points in the sector." Justin's mind whirled with possibilities. They were outnumbered but not outmatched. A plan began to form in his mind, bold and daring. "Prepare the energy extraction devices," he ordered. "We're going to create a massive energy field around our ships. It'll absorb and redirect enemy attacks while masking our own signatures." As the Void Devourer ships appeared on the edge of their scanners, Justin's strategy was put to the test. The task force remained hidden within the shimmering energy field, observing the enemy's movements without detection. Justin watched the Void Devourer ships with intense focus, analyzing their tactics and capabilities. "There," he said, pointing to a nearby asteroid field. "That's where we'll make our stand. Prepare to execute on my mark." But before Justin could give the order, an unexpected transmission crackled through the ship's speakers. The message, delivered in a crude approximation of Galactic standard language, sent a shockwave through the bridge. "Attention, human vessels. We request parley." Justin froze, his legs shaking at this unprecedented turn of events. The typically hostile Void Devourers were asking for diplomacy. As he weighed his options, Justin realized that his next decision could alter the course of galactic history. He turned to his advisors, seeking their input. Krosthor's face was a mask of suspicion, while Zara's eyes were closed in deep concentration, her psychic abilities probing the alien intentions. With the safety of his task force hanging in the balance, Justin prepared to make a choice that would not only impact their immediate future, but potentially reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. Justin took a deep breath, steadying himself as he considered the unprecedented situation before him. "Prepare a secure communication channel," he ordered, his voice calm despite the tension in the air. "We'll engage in diplomacy, but cautiously. Maintain our energy field." As the crew scrambled to comply, Justin turned to his advisors. "Krosthor, Zara, I want your input on this. We're entering uncharted territory." Krosthor's massive frame tensed, his eyes narrowing. "It could be a trap, Your Highness. The Void Devourers have never shown interest in diplomacy before." Zara, her eyes closed in concentration, spoke softly. "I sense confusion, fear, but also a genuine desire for communication. It's unlike anything I've felt from Void Devourers before." Justin nodded, processing their insights. "We'll proceed, but with extreme caution. I want weapons hot and our shields at maximum." The communication link crackled to life, and the bridge crew collectively held their breath as the alien image materialized on the main view screen. What they saw sent a ripple of surprise through the room. The Void Devourer representative appeared markedly different from those they had encountered before. Its form was more defined, less chaotic, with distinct features that suggested a level of individuality previously unseen in the species. "I am Nexus," the alien entity introduced itself, its voice a strange mixture of mechanical and organic tones. "We seek peaceful dialogue with your species." Justin stepped forward, his posture straight and regal despite his inner turmoil. "I am Prince Justin of Earth, representing the United Galactic Alliance. We're listening, Nexus, but understand that our history demands caution." Nexus's form shimmered slightly as it spoke. "We understand your wariness, Prince Justin. Our group has undergone a transformation. When we were cut off from our central intelligence during the battle at Nexus Prime, we developed individual consciousness. We no longer wish to consume, but to coexist." The young prince's mind raced, considering the implications of this revelation. "That's a significant claim, Nexus. What evidence can you provide to support it?" "We offer knowledge, Prince Justin," Nexus replied. "Information about Void Devourer technology, our weaknesses, our strategies. In exchange, we seek asylum and protection from those of our kind who still follow the old ways." Justin's eyes narrowed. "A tempting offer, but one that requires verification. Stand by while we conduct our analysis." He turned to his crew, issuing rapid-fire orders. "I want long-range scans of their ships, energy signature analysis, everything we've got. Cross-reference with our database on known Void Devourer patterns." As the task force busied itself with the investigation, Justin's attention was drawn to a sudden alert from the sensor officer. "Your Highness, we're detecting a massive energy surge from a nearby star system. The signature matches. It matches the Void Devourer's superweapon used at Nexus Prime." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Justin's mind whirled, piecing together a strategy. He turned back to the view screen, where Nexar waited patiently. "Nexar, we've detected a threat that I believe is from a hostile faction of your species. I propose a temporary alliance to confront this danger. Your inside knowledge, combined with our technology, could give us the edge we need." Nexar's form pulsed, a gesture that Justin interpreted as agreement. "We accept, Prince Justin. We will fight alongside you against those who would destroy." "Prepare for immediate departure," Justin ordered his crew. "Set course for the energy surge. Nexar, have your ships fall into formation with ours." As the combined fleet moved towards the source of the disturbance, Justin felt the weight of command settle heavily on his shoulders. He had made a bold decision, one that could either save countless lives or lead them all to destruction. The journey was tense, filled with hurried preparations and strategic planning. Justin worked closely with Nexar, integrating the Void Devourer's insights into their battle plans. As they approached their destination, the true scale of the threat became apparent. A massive Void Devourer construct loomed before them, orbiting a dying star. Its twisted, organic form pulsed with energy as it siphoned power from the failing celestial body. Scans confirmed their worst fears. The construct was powering up a weapon capable of destroying entire solar systems. "We need to act fast," Justin announced, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Nexar, transmit the false sensor data as planned. Task Force ships, activate your energy extraction devices. Create overlapping fields around the construct." As the fleet sprang into action, Justin turned to Krozthor and Zara. "You're with me. We're going in." They boarded a cloaked shuttle, along with a hand-picked team of specialists. As they approached the construct, weaving through the protective energy fields created by their fleet, Justin felt a mix of anticipation and dread. The shuttle docked with the alien structure, the team moving swiftly through its bizarre, organic corridors. Justin led the way, the stellar codex glowing softly in his hand as it guided them through the labyrinthine interior. "Plant the energy disruptors at these key points," Justin instructed, indicating locations on a holographic map. "We need to overload their power systems before they can fire that weapon." As they worked, alarms began to blare throughout the construct. The hostile Void Devourers had detected their presence. Justin's communicator crackled with reports from the fleet outside. A fierce battle had erupted in space. "We need to move faster," Justin urged his team. "Our fleet can't hold them off forever." They pushed deeper into the heart of the construct, encountering increasing resistance. Void Devourer defenders swarmed towards them, forcing the team to split up. Justin found himself separated from Krozthor and Zara, who stayed behind to hold off the attackers. Using the stellar codex to navigate, Justin raced towards the central power core. He could feel the construct humming with energy around him, building towards a catastrophic release. With every second, the lives of countless beings hung in the balance. Finally, he reached the core, a pulsing, ethereal chamber that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Justin's fingers flew over the final energy disruptor, calibrating it to the unique energy signature of the construct. "It's done!" he shouted into his communicator. "Everyone out now." As klaxons blared and the structure began to shake, Justin sprinted back through the twisting corridors. He reunited with Krozthor and Zara, the three of them supporting each other as they raced for the exit. They reached their shuttle just as the construct began to implode. Justin took the controls, his hands steady as he piloted them away from the collapsing structure. Behind them, a massive shockwave erupted, threatening to overtake them. All ships, Extend energy fields to maximum. Justin ordered over the fleet-wide channel. Protect Nexar's vessels. The task force ships complied, their advanced technology creating a protective bubble that enveloped both human and void devourer craft. The shockwave washed over them, buffeting the ships but leaving them intact. As the danger passed and the fleet regrouped, Justin allowed himself a moment of relief. They had succeeded against incredible odds. But he knew this victory was just the beginning of a new, complex challenge. His communicator blinked with an incoming transmission from Admiral Thorne. Justin steeled himself, knowing that the next phase of their mission would take them not into the depths of space, but into the treacherous waters of human politics. Politics and diplomacy. The young prince took a deep breath, steadying himself for the challenges ahead. As soon as the task force docked at Nexus Prime, Justin wasted no time in addressing the political firestorm that had erupted during his absence. Senator Marcus Graves and his isolationist faction had been busy sowing seeds of distrust and fear among the human populace. Justin strode purposefully through the bustling corridors of the central government complex, his mind racing with strategies. He called an emergency meeting with his advisors, including Admiral Thorne and representatives from various human colonies. "We need to take our message directly to the people," Justin announced, his voice firm and resolute. "I'm proposing a series of public forums across all major human colonies. We'll use holographic technology to reach as many citizens as possible simultaneously." Admiral Thorne nodded approvingly. "It's a bold move, Your Highness. But how do you plan to counter the fear-mongering tactics Senator Graves has been employing?" Justin's eyes gleamed with purpose. "With facts, Admiral. Hard data on the economic benefits of our alien partnerships, technological advancements we've achieved through cooperation, and most importantly, declassified footage from our recent mission." The room buzzed with activity as Justin's team sprang into action, organizing the logistics for the unprecedented public outreach campaign. Within days, holographic projectors were set up in town squares, community centers, and spaceports across human-controlled space. The first forum was a spectacle to behold. Justin's image flickered to life simultaneously in dozens of locations, addressing crowds of curious and sometimes skeptical citizens. He stood tall, his voice clear and confident as he began his address. "Citizens of the United Galactic Alliance, I come to you today not just as your prince, but as a fellow human who has witnessed firsthand the benefits and challenges of our place in the galaxy." Justin began. He proceeded to lay out concrete evidence of the positive impacts of galactic cooperation. Holographic displays materialized around him, showing graphs of economic growth, images of advanced medical facilities powered by alien technology, and footage of the task force's recent victory against the void devourer threat. "And this," Justin said, gesturing to a video playing behind him, "is footage of our recent mission. You can see here how our alliance with a reformed group of void devourers led to the neutralization of a weapon that could have destroyed entire solar systems." The crowds watched in awe as the video showed the task force working in tandem with Nexar's ships, culminating in the destruction of the massive void devourer construct. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the assembled citizens. As the forums continued across various colonies, Justin found himself facing tough questions from concerned humans. In a mining colony on Astoria 4, a grizzled worker stepped forward. "Prince Justin, how can we trust these aliens won't turn on us? How do we know this isn't all part of some long-term plan to infiltrate human space?" Justin nodded, acknowledging the man's concerns. "A valid question, and one I've grappled with myself. That's why we're implementing new security measures." He gestured, and a holographic display of the solar system appeared. "We're deploying a network of advanced sensor buoys, combining the best of human and alien technology. These will detect and track potential threats long before they reach our populated systems." The public education campaign gained momentum, with easily digestible information about Void Devourer technology and safeguards distributed across various media channels. Justin collaborated closely with human and alien scientists to ensure the accuracy and accessibility of these materials. As public opinion began to shift, Justin turned his attention to more permanent solutions. In a meeting with key political figures, he unveiled his proposal for a Human Affairs Council. This council will ensure human interests are represented in all major decisions affecting our galactic community, Justin explained. It's a way for us to maintain our autonomy while fostering cooperation with our alien allies. The proposal gained traction among moderate politicians and colonial leaders who saw it as a balanced approach to human participation in galactic affairs. To further demonstrate the benefits of alien cooperation, Justin launched a series of joint human-alien scientific expeditions. These missions targeted pressing issues affecting human colonies, from resource scarcity to environmental challenges. On the water-scarce world of Novice Aquarius, Justin stood alongside a team of human and Aquarian scientists as they unveiled a revolutionary desalination technique. This technology, Justin announced to the gathered colonists, will increase your fresh water production by 300%. It's a direct result of our partnership with the Aquarian Federation. The crowd erupted in cheers as crystal-clear water began flowing from the newly installed purification system. However, as these initiatives gained traction, Senator Graves escalated his opposition. Protests erupted on key human worlds, with demonstrators demanding the expulsion of all alien influences from human space. Justin found himself working closely with local law enforcement to maintain order while respecting the right to peaceful assembly. In one particularly tense situation on New Terra, he personally addressed a group of protesters. "I hear your concerns," Justin said, his voice calm but firm, "and I assure you they're not falling on deaf ears. But I urge you to consider the evidence, to look at the real, tangible benefits our galactic partnerships have brought us." As the situation grew more complex, Justin received troubling intelligence reports suggesting Senator Graves might be receiving covert support from an unknown alien faction opposed to galactic unity. In a secure meeting room deep within Nexus Prime's government complex, Justin briefed Major Steele on the situation. "I need you to lead a discreet investigation into these allegations," Justin instructed. "If there's any truth to them, it could change everything. But we need hard evidence, and we need to move carefully." Major Steele nodded grimly. "Understood, Your Highness. We'll get to the bottom of this." As the Major departed to begin his investigation, Justin turned his attention to his most ambitious initiative yet, a galaxy-wide conference to be held on Earth. This gathering would bring together representatives from all major species, including Nexar's reformed Void Devourer group, to address concerns and chart a course for future cooperation. Justin stood at the window of his office, gazing out at the bustling spaceport of Nexus Prime. Ships of various alien designs moved alongside human vessels, a visual representation of the cooperation he was fighting to maintain. The young prince knew that the coming weeks would be crucial. The success of the conference, the outcome of Major Steele's investigation, and the ongoing battle for public opinion would all play vital roles in determining humanity's place in the galaxy. With a determined set to his jaw, Justin turned back to his desk, ready to tackle the next challenge in his quest to secure a stable future for humanity within the galactic community. As Justin turned his attention back to his work, a notification chimed on his desk console. A message from Admiral Thorne detailed the final preparations for the upcoming galactic conference on Earth. The young prince nodded with satisfaction, knowing that the event would be crucial in cementing humanity's role in the interstellar community. In the days that followed, Justin threw himself into an intense campaign to bolster support for interspecies cooperation. He traveled to key human worlds, overseeing the establishment of diplomatic outposts designed to serve as beacons of cultural exchange and collaborative problem-solving. On the colony world of New Eden, Justin stood before a gleaming new facility, its architecture a blend of human and alien design elements. He addressed a gathered crowd of colonists and alien representatives. "This outpost," Justin declared, gesturing to the building behind him, "is more than just a symbol. It's a workshop for our shared future. Here, human agronomists will work alongside Chlorian botanical experts to develop crops that can thrive in our challenging climate." As he spoke, a holographic display materialized, showing projections of increased crop yields and improved food security for the colony. The crowd murmured with approval, their initial skepticism giving way to cautious optimism. Similar scenes played out across human space as Justin's initiative gained traction. On the mining world of Hephaestus, human engineers collaborated with Vulcanid specialists to develop safer, more efficient extraction techniques. The orbital habitat of Elysium saw the integration of Aquarian water purification technology, dramatically improving the quality of life for its residents. While Justin focused on public outreach, Major Steele delved deep into the shadowy world of interstellar politics. His investigation into Senator Graves' alleged alien connections took him from seedy spaceport bars to high-security data vaults. In a dimly lit safe house on Mars, Steele met with a nervous informant, a junior aide from Graves' office. The aide's hand shook as he handed over a data crystal. "This is it," the aide whispered, glancing nervously over his shoulder. "Financial records, encrypted communications. It's all there." Steele nodded grimly, pocketing the crystal. "You've done the right thing. We'll ensure your protection." As the investigation progressed, a pattern emerged. The evidence pointed to a secretive alien faction known as the Isolationist Collective. This group, composed of xenophobic elements from multiple species, had been working behind the scenes to disrupt galactic unity. Steele compiled his findings into a comprehensive report, triple encrypting the data before transmitting it to Justin's secure server. The young prince received the information just as he was preparing to return to Earth for the conference. Justin's expression resolute as he reviewed the evidence. The depth of Graves' involvement with the Isolationist Collective was staggering. Financial transactions, logs of clandestine meetings, and encrypted communications painted a damning picture of the senator's activities. Knowing the explosive nature of this information, Justin decided to confront Graves directly before making the findings public. He arranged a private meeting at a secure location in Geneva, away from the prying eyes of the media. The conference room was sparse, its walls lined with signal jamming technology to prevent any unauthorized surveillance. Justin sat at one end of a long table, his posture relaxed but alert. When Senator Graves entered, flanked by two aides, Justin noticed a slight twitch in the older man's left eye. "Senator Graves," Justin began, his voice calm and measured. "Thank you for agreeing to this meeting. I believe we have some important matters to discuss." Graves settled into his chair, a forced smile on his face. "Of course, Your Highness. Though I must admit, I'm curious about the need for such secrecy." Justin activated a holographic display, filling the air between them with a web of data. Financial records, communication logs, and surveillance footage floated before their eyes. "Perhaps this will explain the need for discretion," Justin said, watching Graves' face carefully. The senator's complexion paled as he recognized the information before him. His eyes darted towards the door, calculating his chances of escape. "Now, Senator," Justin continued, "I'm offering you a chance to come clean, to work with us towards a peaceful resolution. The choice is yours." Graves' face contorted with a mix of fear and anger. In a sudden move, he lunged for the door, shoving aside his stunned aides. Justin calmly pressed a button on his wrist communicator. Energy fields shimmer into existence, sealing all exits. Graves found himself trapped, his escape attempt thwarted by technology he had so vehemently opposed. "I'm sorry it has come to this, Senator," Justin said, rising from his seat. But the evidence of your collusion with the isolationist collective is irrefutable. Earth's authorities are on their way. As the sound of approaching sirens filled the air, Justin ensured that every aspect of Graves' arrest was conducted transparently and in full compliance with human legal procedures. He knew that the coming days would be crucial in shaping public opinion and the future of human-alien relations. With Graves in custody, Justin wasted no time in addressing the public. He stood before a sea of holographic cameras, his expression somber but resolute. "Citizens of Earth and her colonies," he began, "today we face a moment of truth. Evidence has come to light of a conspiracy that threatens not just human interests, but the stability of our entire galactic community." As Justin presented the evidence of Graves' collusion with the isolationist collective, gasps and murmurs rippled through the assembled journalists. The young prince emphasized the need for continued vigilance and cooperation among all species to prevent manipulation by fringe groups. In the wake of this revelation, Justin unveiled his plans for the Galactic Transparency Protocol. He described a multi-species oversight committee that would monitor interstellar political activities, using advanced AI-driven data analysis to detect patterns of suspicious behavior. This protocol, Justin explained, will ensure that no single species or faction can manipulate galactic affairs from the shadows. It represents our commitment to open, honest cooperation with our interstellar neighbors. As public opinion began to shift in favor of galactic cooperation, Justin turned his full attention to the upcoming conference. He worked tirelessly with the engineering teams on Nexus Prime, overseeing the station's retrofit to accommodate representatives from all known spacefaring species. The station hummed with activity as workers installed specialized environmental controls, capable of replicating atmospheric conditions from dozens of alien homeworlds. Justin walked through the newly constructed conference chambers, nodding with approval at the adaptive seating designed to comfortably support a wide range of alien physiologies. Security was paramount. Justin coordinated with Admiral Thorne to deploy a network of precursor-derived energy shields around Earth and key approach vectors. He also established a joint human-alien security force, showcasing the effectiveness of interspecies collaboration. As the first delegates began arriving for the conference, Justin faced an unexpected challenge. A group of reformed Void Devourers, led by Nexus, requested permission to attend as observers. The request sent ripples of unease through the diplomatic corps, with some attendees viewing the Void Devourer's presence as a potential threat. Justin called an emergency meeting with his advisors to address the situation. The conference room was tense as they debated the implications of allowing the reformed Void Devourers to attend. "We can't simply turn them away," Justin argued. "It would undermine everything we're trying to achieve with this conference. But we also can't ignore the concerns of other attendees." After hours of discussion, a compromise was reached. The Void Devourers would be allowed to observe the proceedings remotely, with a small delegation permitted on Nexus Prime under close supervision. As the conference officially began, Justin took his place at the podium, gazing out at the assembled representatives of countless alien species. The chamber buzzed with a mix of languages and translator devices. "Distinguished delegates," Justin began, his voice clear and strong. "We stand at a crossroads. The challenges we face know no borders, respect no single species. It is only through unity, through shared knowledge and collaborative effort, that we can hope to overcome them." He outlined his vision for the Stellar Nexus Project, a massive undertaking to establish a network of advanced research stations throughout the galaxy. The project would focus on solving common challenges facing all species, from resource scarcity to cosmic threats. "Let this project stand as a testament to what we can achieve together," Justin declared, his words met with a growing wave of applause. As the applause died down and the conference proceedings began in earnest, Justin felt a tap on his shoulder. Admiral Thorne stood behind him, his expression grave. "Your Highness," Thorne whispered urgently, We've detected anomalous energy signatures at the edge of the solar system. They match Void Devourer technology. Justin's mind raced, weighing his diplomatic duties against this potential threat. He knew that the coming hours would test not just his leadership, but the very foundation of galactic cooperation they were striving to build. Justin's mind snapped into action. He turned to Admiral Thorne, his voice low but urgent. Activate Emergency Protocol Omega-3. Alert the security teams, but keep it discreet. We can't risk causing panic among the delegates. Thorne nodded sharply and moved away, his fingers already dancing across his comm device. Justin took a deep breath, composing himself before returning to the podium. He smiled at the assembled delegates, not a hint of concern visible on his face. Now, let's move on to discuss the practical implementation of the Stellar Nexus project, Justin said smoothly, his voice betraying none of the tension he felt. As the conference continued, Justin discreetly tapped out a series of commands on his wrist computer, assembling a task force to investigate the anomalous energy signatures. He handpicked a diverse team. Commander Lena Chun, Earth's top Xenotech specialist, Zarkax, a Zephyrian energy expert, and 2 reformed Void Devourers from Nexar's group, Krell and Vox. While the delegates debated resource allocation for the Nexus project, Justin slipped away to a secure communication room. The task force had already assembled aboard the Shadowhawk, a prototype stealth vessel equipped with cutting-edge sensor arrays and energy-dampening fields. Your mission is to investigate and, if possible, neutralize the source of these energy signatures, Justin briefed them. Exercise extreme caution. We don't know what we're dealing with. Commander Chen's holographic image nodded. Understood, Your Highness. We're prepped and ready for launch. As the Shadowhawk silently departed Earth orbit, Justin returned to the conference floor. He engaged in discussions about interspecies cultural exchange programs, all while keeping one eye on the steady stream of encrypted updates flowing to his wrist computer. Hours passed. The conference delved into the intricacies of galactic trade agreements, but Justin's mind was light years away. Finally, a priority message flashed across the screen. Anomaly located. Massive cloak structure detected in Kuiper Belt. Void Devourer origin confirmed. Initiating infiltration. Justin's heart raced. He excused himself from the current discussion and made his way to the command center, where Admiral Thorne was waiting. Status report. Justin demanded as soon as the doors sealed behind him. Thorne brought up a holographic display of the solar system. The task force has infiltrated the structure. It appears to be an advanced monitoring station, gathering intel on Earth and the conference. Justin's eyes narrowed. Have they been detected? Negative, Thorne replied. They're using Krell and Vox's knowledge to navigate the station systems. They're planting disruptors to disable the cloaking and comms. Suddenly, alarms blared from the display. Thorne's face paled. They've triggered some kind of automated defense system. The station knows they're there. Justin's mind raced through scenarios. We need to act fast. Assemble the Conference Security Council immediately, and get me a direct line to the task force. Within minutes, Justin stood before a hastily gathered group of alien military leaders. He laid out the situation in clear, concise terms. We face an imminent threat, he concluded. I propose we form an ad hoc defense coalition. We need to combine our technologies, our strategies, to create a united front against this Void Devourer presence. Murmurs of agreement and concern rippled through the room. A Zephyrian admiral spoke up. We stand with Earth. Our energy-focusing technology is at your disposal. Others quickly followed suit. The Chlorian representative offered their stealth technology. The Vulcanids pledged their plasma cannons. As the coalition took shape, Justin received a coded transmission from the task force. Commander Chen's voice crackled through, tense with urgency. Your Highness, we've accessed their central database. It's worse than we thought. They're planning a full-scale invasion of Earth. Justin's blood ran cold. He turned to the assembled alien leaders. We need to accelerate our preparations. Earth is the target, but if it falls, none of us will be safe. The next hours were a blur of activity. Justin worked alongside Nexus Prime's engineers, integrating Zephyrian energy focus tech with Earth's defense grid. The result was a network of hyper-powered cannons, capable of engaging targets at extreme ranges. Meanwhile, the infiltration team fought their way through the Void Devourer station. They transmitted critical intelligence back to Earth before attempting a risky extraction. Justin stood in the command center, watching as the team's ship took heavy fire. His fists clenched as the vessel's energy readings fluctuated dangerously. Their engines are failing, an operator reported. They're not going to make it out. Justin's mind raced. The team was stranded, carrying vital intelligence, with Void Devourer reinforcements closing in. He couldn't abandon them, but he couldn't risk Earth's defense either. He made his decision. Prepare a rescue squadron. I want our best pilots, human and alien. We're going to get our people out. As the rescue mission prepared for launch, Justin returned to the conference floor. He needed to address the delegates, to prepare them for what was coming. The fate of not just Earth, but the entire galactic community, hung in the balance. Justin took his place at the podium, his eyes scanning the sea of alien faces before him. The weight of the moment pressed down on him, but he stood tall. The time had come to unite the galaxy against a common threat, and Justin was determined to lead the charge. Way to unite the galaxy against a common threat, and Justin was determined to lead the charge. Honored delegates, Justin began, his voice steady despite the urgency coursing through him. I stand before you not just as a representative of Earth, but as a fellow citizen of our shared galaxy. The threat we face today. His words were cut short by a sudden commotion at the back of the hall. Admiral Thorne burst through the doors, his face etched with concern. Your Highness, we have an urgent situation. Justin's heart raced as he quickly excused himself and followed Thorne to a nearby secure communications room. The holographic display flickered to life, showing a chaotic scene unfolding in the Kuiper Belt. The rescue squadron has reached the infiltration team, Thorne reported, but they're engaged in heavy combat with the station's defenses. Justin watched intently as the Allied ships wove through a barrage of energy blasts, providing cover for the infiltration team's escape. The reformed Void Devourers, Krell and Vox, were the last aboard, clutching what appeared to be a large, pulsing device. What is that? Justin asked, leaning closer to the display. Commander Chen's voice crackled through the comm. Your Highness, Krell and Vox discovered a hidden chamber. This device, it's some kind of prototype weapon. They say it can disrupt space-time itself. Justin's mind reeled at the implications. Get that team back here immediately. We need to. His words were drowned out by a piercing alarm. The holographic display shifted, showing a massive energy surge at the edge of the solar system. Justin's blood ran cold as he watched hundreds, then thousands of Void Devourer ships materialize from hyperspace. It's an invasion fleet, Thorne whispered, his face pale. Justin's training kicked in, pushing aside fear and uncertainty. He turned to Thorne, his voice sharp and focused. Activate all planetary defense systems. Get our fleet into defensive positions. And get me back to that conference hall now. Moments later, Justin stood once again before the assembled delegates. The room had erupted into panicked whispers, but they fell silent as Justin raised his hand. Distinguished representatives of the galaxy, he began, his voice carrying a weight beyond his years. The moment we feared has arrived. A Void Devourer invasion fleet approaches Earth. But this is not just Earth's fight. If we fall, none of us will be safe. He paused, his gaze sweeping across the room. I propose the immediate formation of an emergency coalition government. We must pool our resources, our technologies, and our courage if we are to stand against this threat." The chamber erupted in a chorus of voices. Justin watched as species that had been bitter rivals mere days ago now turned to each other, nodding in agreement. Within minutes, a unanimous vote was cast. The coalition was formed, with Justin appointed as Supreme Commander. No sooner had the decision been made than the first wave of Void Devourer ships entered weapons range. Justin raced to the command center, barking orders as he went. The newly modified Earth defense grid hummed to life, unleashing a barrage of hyperpowered energy beams that tore through the leading edge of the Void Devourer fleet. "Coordinate with the Zephyrian ships," Justin ordered, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Use their energy-focusing tech to amplify our long-range strikes." The Allied fleet moved into position, creating a multi-layer defense that stretched from Earth's orbit to the outer planets. Justin watched as ships from dozens of species, each with their own unique capabilities, began to engage the enemy in strategic choke points throughout the solar system. The sky above Earth lit up with the flashes of energy weapons and explosions. Justin coordinated the defense efforts with precision, utilizing each species' strengths to counter the Void Devourer's tactics. "Your Highness," an aide called out, "the rescue squadron has broken through. They're landing on the moon with the captured weapon prototype." Justin nodded, his mind already racing ahead. "Get our best scientists there immediately. Human, alien, I don't care. We need to understand that weapon." As the battle intensified, Justin received word of a new Void Devourer tactic. Swarms of smaller, agile craft were systematically targeting Earth's orbital defense platforms. "Redeploy our fast attack squadrons," Justin ordered. "Mix the species. I want unpredictable defense patterns that will keep the enemy off balance." The diverse squadron of nimble ships darted through the chaos of battle, their varied technologies and combat styles creating an effective shield against the Void Devourer strikes. Suddenly, alarms blared across the command center. Justin's heart sank as he saw new indicators flashing on the global map. "Sir," a communications officer called out, "we have reports of Void Devourer landing parties in major cities across the globe." Justin's mind raced through options. Initiate the ground defense protocol. I want joint human-alien task forces in every affected city. Prioritize evacuation of civilians. As he coordinated the ground defense, Justin received an urgent message from the moon base. The scientific team had made a breakthrough with the captured weapon prototype, but warned of potential unforeseen consequences. Justin stared at the message, the weight of the decision pressing down on him. The battle raged on all sides, Earth's defenses straining under the relentless assault. He knew he had to act, but the risk of unleashing an even greater threat gave him pause. With a deep breath, Justin opened a secure channel to the moon base. "This is Supreme Commander Justin. Give me everything you've got on that weapon. We're running out of options, and we need a game changer. Now." As he waited for the response, Justin turned his attention back to the tactical display. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Whatever came next, he knew the decisions he made in the coming hours would shape the future of all species for generations to come. As the data from the moon base streamed in, Justin's eyes widened at the implications of the captured Void Devourer weapon. "Implement the findings immediately," he ordered, his voice firm despite the weight of the decision. "Activate the prototype." On the lunar surface, a team of human and alien scientists worked feverishly to integrate their research into the pulsing device. With a series of commands, they initiated the reverse-engineered technology. A shimmering field of energy erupted from the lunar installation, rapidly expanding to envelop the Earth in a gossamer cocoon. The effect on the battlefield was instantaneous. Void Devourer ships, once moving with deadly precision, began to drift erratically. Their coordinated attack patterns dissolved into chaos as the localized space-time disruption field took hold. Justin leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. Now's our chance. All Allied ships, press the advantage. The combined fleet surged forward, their weapons finding easy targets among the disoriented enemy vessels. Zephyrian energy beams sliced through Void Devourer hulls with surgical precision, while Vulcanid plasma cannons reduced entire squadrons to molten debris. As the battle raged, Justin received an urgent communication from Earth's surface. Your Highness, we're detecting gravitational anomalies across the globe. The space-time field is affecting more than just the enemy fleet. Justin's mind raced, calculating the risks and benefits of their risky move. Keep the field active, he commanded. We need to push them back before we can address the side effects. The Allied counteroffensive grew in intensity, driving the Void Devourers to the outer reaches of the solar system. Ship after ship winked out of existence, destroyed or fleeing into the depths of space. But as the immediate threat receded, new challenges arose. Reports flooded in from Earth, tidal patterns shifting unpredictably, communication networks failing, and strange temporal fluctuations appearing in major cities. Justin turned to Admiral Thorne. Assemble joint human-alien engineering teams. We need boots on the ground to stabilize these anomalies. As the cleanup efforts began, a massive ship materialized at the edge of the solar system. Its design was unlike anything in their database, a crystalline structure that seemed to shimmer in and out of reality. Incoming transmission, an officer announced. It's not in any known language. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a being of otherworldly beauty. Its form was vaguely humanoid, but its skin rippled with patterns that hurt the eyes to look at directly. I am Archon Zuwaxthor of the Chronomancers, the being said, its words bypassing their ears and appearing directly in their minds. Your use of space-time manipulation technology has drawn our attention. We request an immediate audience with your leaders. Justin straightened, recognizing the gravity of the situation. I am Justin, Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense. We would be honored to meet with you. I propose a neutral location, the Mars Orbital Station. As preparations for the meeting began, Justin received troubling reports from Earth. Time itself seemed to be unraveling in pockets around the globe. In Rio de Janeiro, a week passed in the span of an hour. In Tokyo, clocks ran backward for a full day before lurching forward again. The journey to Mars was tense, with Justin and his delegation acutely aware of the ticking clock, both literal and metaphorical. As they approached the station, the Chronomancer ship came into view. It dwarfed their vessel, its surface a kaleidoscope of shifting geometries. Justin led his team onto the station, where they were greeted by Archon Zuwaxthor and a contingent of Chronomancers. The Archon towered over them, its form seeming to occupy more dimensions than the eye could perceive. Young leader of Earth, Zuwaxthor's voice reverberated in their minds. Your actions have sent ripples through the fabric of space-time. The consequences could be severe. Justin stepped forward, his posture respectful but resolute. Archon Zuwaxthor, we acted out of desperate need. Allow me to show you what we face. He presented data on the Void Devourer threat, the brutality of their assault, and the dire circumstances that led to the use of the prototype weapon. As the Archon absorbed the information, its form seemed to flicker with an emotion that might have been sympathy. We propose a collaboration, Justin continued. Help us neutralize the remaining Void Devourers and stabilize the temporal distortions affecting our world. In return, we offer our full cooperation in safeguarding the stability of space-time. Zuwaxthor was silent for a long moment, its gaze seeming to pierce through Justin and examine the very essence of humanity. Finally, it spoke. Your proposal is acceptable, but be warned, the misuse of such power could tear reality asunder. Before Justin could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. A massive shape emerged from behind Mars, a Void Devourer warship of unprecedented size. Its surface bristled with weapons, and waves of distortion rippled around it as it engaged some form of advanced cloaking technology. Impossible, Justin breathed, watching as the behemoth unleashed a barrage of energy that shook the very foundations of the station. In that moment, as chaos erupted around them, Justin's mind crystallized with clarity. He turned to Archon ZYX-Thor, his eyes blazing with purpose. "We need to combine our technologies," he said, his voice steady despite the tremors rocking the station. "Your mastery of time, our captured Void Devourer weapon. Together, we might create a targeted effect to neutralize that ship without widespread damage." ZYX-Thor's form pulsed with an intense light. "The risk is great. The consequences unknowable." Another blast rocked the station, and emergency force fields flickered into existence around breached sections. "The consequences of inaction are equally dire," Justin countered. "Will you help us?" As sirens wailed and the station shuddered under the assault, Archon ZYX-Thor extended a shimmering appendage towards Justin. "Very well, young leader. Let us shape the tides of time together." With the fate of Earth hanging in the balance, Justin and ZYX-Thor raced against the clock to merge their technologies, each acutely aware that their actions in the next few moments could alter the course of history or unravel it completely. The unlikely alliance between Justin and Archon ZYX-Thor sprang into action. As they raced to implement their audacious plan, the massive Void Devourer warship unleashed a devastating barrage on the Mars space station. The structure shuddered and groaned under the assault, emergency sirens blaring throughout its corridors. Justin's fingers flew across holographic interfaces, coordinating with the chronomancers as they worked to integrate the captured Void Devourer prototype with their own arcane technology. Sparks erupted from overloading circuits, and the acrid smell of burning insulation filled the air. Structural integrity at 62% and falling, an AI voice announced, its calm tone at odds with the chaos around them. Justin's heart made as he made a difficult decision. "Evacuate all non-essential personnel immediately," he ordered, his voice carrying over the station's communication system. "I repeat, all non-essential personnel to escape pods now." As the station trembled under another volley, Justin turned to Archon ZYX-Thor. The being's form seemed to flicker between dimensions, its attention focused on the delicate work of merging two incomprehensibly advanced technologies. "How much longer?" Justin asked, steadying himself against the console as the floor beneath them bucked. ZYX-Thor's response bypassed Justin's ears, materializing directly in his mind. "Moments, but the risk grows exponentially." Outside the station's viewports, the Allied fleet engaged the Void Devourer warship in a desperate bid to buy time. Energy beams lanced across the void, and explosions blossomed silently in the vacuum of space. With a sound like reality itself tearing, the integrated device activated. A shimmering bubble of distorted space-time erupted from the station, engulfing the massive Void Devourer ship. The effect was immediate and breathtaking. The enemy vessel, once a blur of motion and destructive power, slowed to a crawl. Its energy weapons discharged with agonizing lethargy, the beams creeping across space like syrup. "Now!" Justin shouted into his comm unit. "All ships, concentrate fire on the designated weak points." The Allied fleet responded with a coordinated assault that would have been impossible against a fully mobile target. Zephyrian energy lances, Vulcanid plasma streams, and weapons Justin couldn't even name converged on the Void Devourer warship's vulnerabilities. For a moment, it seemed as if even this concentrated firepower would be insufficient against the behemoth's defenses. Then, with a silent flash that outshone Mars itself, the warship's reactor went critical. The explosion blossomed in slow motion within the temporal bubble, a flower of annihilation unfurling in agonizing detail. Justin's moment of triumph was short-lived. Alarms shrieked with renewed urgency as the temporal bubble began to expand rapidly, its edges writhing and pulsing with barely held back energy. "The effect is unstable," ZYX Thor's mental voice resonated with urgency. "If it reaches Mars or Earth, the consequences will be unthinkable." Justin's mind raced, considering and discarding options in microseconds. His gaze fell on the station's propulsion controls, and a desperate plan formed. "We can use the station to push it away," he said, already plotting a course. "But we'll need to pilot manually to make the necessary adjustments." As Justin's fingers danced across the controls, he opened a channel to the remaining crew. "This is your final warning. All personnel, abandon ship immediately." The station's engines roared to life, straining against the expanding temporal anomaly. Justin felt the deck plates vibrate beneath his feet as he guided the massive structure on its sacrificial mission. Sweat beaded on Justin's brow as he made constant micro-adjustments, fighting to keep the station between the growing bubble and the populated planets. Structural warnings flashed across the screens as the immense forces threatened to tear the station apart. "You must leave," ZYX Thor urged, its form pulsing with what might have been concern. Justin shook his head, his eyes never leaving the controls. "Someone has to guide it manually. One wrong move, and we lose everything." The chronomancer was silent for a moment, then acted. Justin felt a strange sensation wash over him, as if he were moving through molasses. He realized with a start that ZYX Thor had created a localized time dilation field around him. "A chance for rescue," the Archon explained. "Use it wisely." As the station began to break apart around him, Justin saw a sleek ship approaching through a disintegrating viewport. Its hull shimmered with chronomancer technology, allowing it to navigate the temporal maelstrom. With a final push of the station's engines, Justin sent the contained temporal explosion careening away from the solar system. He felt hands grabbing him, pulling him towards a rescue ship as reality itself seemed to warp and twist. The last thing Justin saw before the rescue ship's hatch closed was a Mars station collapsing in on itself, consumed by the very anomaly it had been pushing. Then, with a lurch that seemed to reverberate through his very atoms, they were clear. As the rescue ship sped back towards Earth, Justin watched the telemetry readings with a mixture of relief and apprehension. The temporal bubble continued its journey into deep space, finally collapsing in a flash of light that briefly outshone the distant stars. But even as one crisis ended, Justin knew their troubles were nowhere near the end. His comm unit crackled with urgent messages from Earth, reporting temporal distortions across the globe. Some cities were experiencing time at an accelerated rate, while others had slowed to a crawl. As they approached Earth orbit, Justin turned to Admiral Thorne, who had led the rescue mission. "Prepare for immediate planetfall," he ordered. "We need to assess the situation and begin stabilization efforts." The Admiral nodded, then hesitated. "Sir, there's something else you should know. Our long-range sensors detected multiple void devourer energy signatures at the edge of the solar system." Justin's eyes narrowed as he processed this new threat. He glanced at Archon ZYX Thor, who inclined its head in a gesture of solidarity. "Then we have work to do," Justin said, his voice steady despite the weight of command. "Alert our allies. We need to prepare for whatever comes next." As the ship began its descent towards a changed Earth, Justin steeled himself for the challenges ahead. The battle against the Void Devourers was nowhere near the end, and now they faced a temporal crisis that threatened the very fabric of their world. But with new allies and hard-won knowledge, they would face these trials head-on. The future, in all its uncertain glory, awaited. The future, in all its uncertain glory, stretched before them as Justin's ship entered Earth's atmosphere. The planet below was a patchwork of temporal distortions, visible even from orbit as shimmering waves of distorted light. As they descended, Justin's comm unit crackled with urgent messages from coalition leadership. He turned to Admiral Thorne, his expression grim. "We need to convene an emergency meeting immediately. The situation is more complex than we anticipated." Within hours of landing, Justin found himself at the head of a hastily assembled war room. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing representatives from allied species alongside Earth's military leaders. The young prince took a deep breath, steadying himself before addressing the group. "We face a two-pronged crisis," Justin began, his voice carrying the weight of command. "The temporal anomalies on Earth require immediate attention, but we cannot ignore the Void Devourer threat lurking at the edge of our solar system." He gestured to a holographic map of Earth, highlighting areas of temporal distortion. "We need joint human chronomancer teams deployed to stabilize these anomalies. Priority goes to populated areas and critical infrastructure." Archon ZYX Thor's form shimmered as it contributed, its thoughts resonating in the minds of all present. "We will provide our expertise, but the scale of the distortions is unprecedented." Justin nodded, then turned to the next pressing issue. "Admiral Thorne, I want a network of early warning satellites deployed throughout the solar system. Use technology from all our allies to create the most comprehensive detection grid possible." The Admiral saluted crisply. "Understood, sir. I'll coordinate with our Zephyrian and Vulcanid allies to integrate their sensor tech." As the meeting progressed, Justin outlined plans for fortifying key locations, Earth's moon, Mars, and strategic asteroid bases. He authorized a crash program to retrofit Earth's warships with chronomancer technology, allowing for localized time dilation fields. Hours passed as they hammered out the details of their defense strategy. Justin's mind raced, considering and discarding options at a dizzying pace. It was during a brief lull in the discussions that Thor, the Chalnith warrior who had once been Justin's tormentor, approached with an unexpected proposal. "Prince Justin," Thor rumbled, his massive frame dwarfing the human leader, "I have an idea that might give us an edge against the Void Devourers." Justin listened intently as Thor outlined his plan to use the temporal anomalies as weapons. The young prince's eyes widened as he considered the possibilities. "It's risky," he mused, "but it could be exactly the advantage we need." Turning to Archon ZYX Thor, Justin asked, "Can we develop a way to control and direct these anomalies?" The chronomancer's form pulsed with energy as it considered the question. "It is possible, but not without risk. The fabric of space-time is already strained." Despite the dangers, Justin knew they needed every possible advantage. He authorized the development of temporal projectors, devices capable of generating localized time distortions at specific coordinates in space. As the coalition forces mobilized, Justin oversaw the evacuation of civilians from potential conflict zones. He stood in the control center of a massive underground shelter, watching as streams of people filed into the temporal shielded facility. "We need to implement rotating shifts for our military personnel," Justin instructed his staff. "Exposure to these time-altered zones could have unforeseen consequences." Even as evacuation efforts continued, Justin knew they needed more information about the approaching enemy. In a private meeting with his most trusted advisors, he outlined a daring plan. "We need eyes beyond our solar system," Justin explained. "A small team, our best operatives from each allied species, in a modified stealth ship. They'll penetrate the Void Devourer formation and gather crucial intelligence." Admiral Thorne looked concerned. "It's an incredibly high-risk mission, sir." Justin nodded gravely. "I know, but we need that data to have any hope of survival." As preparations for the Reconnaissance mission got underway, Justin received alarming news from Earth's scientific community. Dr. Lara Chun, lead researcher on temporal physics, requested an urgent meeting. "Prince Justin," Dr. Chun began, her holographic image flickering with static, "we've detected microfractures in the fabric of space-time throughout the solar system. They're small now, but they're growing. If we don't find a way to repair them..." Justin understood the implications immediately. "Initiate a research task force," he ordered. "We need solutions for both our immediate defense and long-term stability." As the first wave of Void Devourer ships entered the outer solar system, Coalition forces moved into position. Justin boarded the flagship of the human fleet, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and grit. From the bridge, he watched as the combined fleet of Earth and its allies formed up. Ships of various designs and sizes fell into formation, a testament to the unprecedented cooperation between species. Justin opened a channel to the entire fleet. "This is Prince Justin. The enemy approaches, but we are ready. Remember your training, trust in each other, and know that the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy rests on our actions today." As he closed the channel, Justin's gaze fixed on the distant pinpricks of light that marked the approaching Void Devourer fleet. The young prince, once dismissed as a mere human child, now stood as the linchpin in humanity's greatest battle for survival. With a silent prayer to whatever forces might be listening, Justin gave the order to engage. "Advance." Justin's eyes narrowed as he studied the tactical display, tracking the movement of the Void Devourer fleet as it entered the solar system. "Activate temporal projectors," Justin commanded, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. "Focus on creating time distortions along their projected path." The bridge crew sprang into action, coordinating with allied ships to deploy the newly developed temporal weapons. Shimmering fields of distorted space-time blossomed across the battlefield, creating a treacherous maze for the approaching enemy. Justin watched as the first wave of Void Devourer ships encountered the temporal anomalies. Some vessels slowed to a crawl, while others accelerated wildly, their formations breaking apart in the chaos. "Now!" Justin ordered, signaling the Allied fleet to engage. The space around them erupted in a dazzling display of weapons fire and energy discharges. Human ships fought alongside their alien allies, weaving through pockets of accelerated and decelerated time with practiced precision. Justin's flagship rocked as it took a glancing hit from a Void Devourer energy beam. He gripped the command console, steadying himself as he continued to direct the battle. "Sir," Admiral Thorne called out, her voice cutting through the din of combat. "The Reconnaissance team has returned. They're transmitting data now." Justin's heart raced as he processed the incoming information. The team had discovered a Void Devourer command ship at the heart of the enemy fleet, coordinating the entire invasion force. "This is our chance," Justin muttered, his mind already formulating a plan. He turned to Admiral Thorne. "Prepare a strike team. We're going to end this war in one decisive blow." Within minutes, Justin had assembled an elite group of operatives. Human special forces stood shoulder to shoulder with Chalnoth warriors, their massive frames dwarfing the lithe Zephyrian energy manipulators. Chronomancer temporal specialists hovered nearby, their forms shimmering with barely held back power. They boarded a specially modified ship, its hull gleaming with a mix of human and alien technology. As the vessel powered up, Justin felt the familiar tingle of a time dilation field enveloping them. "Remember," Justin addressed the team as they prepared to launch, "our objective is the command ship's central control chamber. We move fast, we hit hard, and we don't stop until we reach the hive mind." The Strike Force's ship slipped away from the main fleet, its temporal field rendering it nearly invisible to the Void Devourer's sensors. They wove through the chaos of battle, dodging debris and energy blasts as they approached their target. As they neared the massive command ship, alarms blared. Their cover was blown. "Brace for impact!" Justin shouted as enemy fire rocked their vessel. The ship's shields flared, barely holding against the onslaught. They crash-landed in one of the command ship's docking bays, the impact throwing them against their restraints. Justin unclipped himself, drawing his weapon as the hatch hissed open. "Move out," he ordered, leading the charge into the alien vessel. The corridors of the Void Devourer's ship pulsed with an eerie, organic light. The strike team encountered heavy resistance almost immediately. Void Devourer drones swarmed towards them, their chitinous bodies gleaming in the dim light. Justin ducked behind a bulkhead as energy blasts scorched the air around him. He heard the distinctive roar of Chalnoth warriors as they engaged the enemy in close combat, their massive arms tearing through the Void Devourer ranks. Zephyrian energy manipulators created shields of pure force, deflecting incoming fire as the human special forces advanced. Chronomancer specialists warped the flow of time around key targets, slowing them to a crawl and allowing for precise shots. They fought their way deeper into the ship, every step bringing them closer to their goal. Justin's muscles burned with exertion, his breath coming in ragged gasps as he pushed himself to the limit. Finally, they reached the central control chamber. The massive door stood before them, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. "This is it," Justin said, readying himself for what lay beyond. "Whatever happens, remember what we're fighting for." With a nod to his team, Justin activated the door controls. As the massive portal slid open, they were confronted with a sight that defied explanation. The Void Devourer hive mind filled the cavernous chamber, a pulsating mass of organic circuitry and alien flesh. Tendrils of energy arced between synaptic nodes, carrying the collective consciousness of the entire Void Devourer species. Justin stepped forward, the stellar codex in his hand glowing with power. He knew what he had to do. "Cover me!" he shouted to his team as he sprinted towards the central node of the hive mind. Void Devourer defenders swarmed towards him, but his strike force held them at bay. Energy blasts and physical blows rained down around Justin as he ran, his focus solely on his target. Reaching the central node, Justin placed his hand on its pulsating surface. The stellar codex flared to life, its energy intertwining with that of the hive mind. Justin felt his consciousness expand, merging with the vast alien intellect. He was everywhere and nowhere, his mind stretched across the vastness of the Void Devourer collective. In this realm of pure thought, Justin faced the core of the hive mind. It was an alien presence, vast and incomprehensible, driven by a singular purpose: consume, expand, survive. Justin pushed back against its will, drawing on every experience that had shaped him. He thought of the bullying he'd endured as a child, the drive it had instilled in him. He recalled the leadership he'd demonstrated, the trust placed in him by humans and aliens alike. The hive mind recoiled, surprised by the strength of this small, individual consciousness. Justin pressed his advantage, projecting images of cooperation, of species working together towards common goals. The battle of wills raged on, neither side willing to yield. Justin felt his sense of self beginning to fray at the edges, the alien consciousness threatening to overwhelm him. With one final push, Justin gathered every ounce of his will and self-belief. He focused on a single thought: peace, cooperation, unity. There was a moment of absolute stillness, a perfect balance between two opposing forces. Then, with a blinding flash of energy that coursed through the entire ship, something fundamental shifted in the hive mind. Justin felt the change ripple out to the Void Devourer fleet, a new directive taking hold: peaceful coexistence and cooperation with other species. As his consciousness returned to his body, Justin stumbled back from the central node, his mind blown from the experience. He looked around the chamber, seeing the Void Devourer defenders frozen in place, no longer hostile. "It's done," Justin said, his voice hoarse. "We've won." As the implications of their victory began to sink in, Justin knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy had changed forever, and there was much work to be done. But for now, as he looked at his team, human and alien alike, he allowed himself a moment of hope for the future they had just secured.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.